happen, all the normal stuff. I make one request for you on this day. Not to sound like the old man in the I make one request for your driving in this weather. I was driving in this morning. There were no accidents yet. We were just in the normal slowdown that exists in poor weather. There was a guy in the left lane going 49 miles an hour.
On the highway?
Yes. All I'm telling you, you can go as slow as you want, okay? Look, I get
Get out of the left lane.
You're trying to get your ass out of the left lane. Move over. Get to the middle, get to the right, get anywhere but this left lane. You're holding this whole process up. I get it. You're like, it's a little rainy. My tires are a little old. Just go get a new car. But like at Volkswagen Lee Summit. But like, do yourself a favor and just get out of the left lane. That's all I'm asking. Everything else, you want to drive a little safer, you want to drive 10 miles an hour into the speed limit because you're worried about the rain? Fine. You want to slow it down a little bit? Cool. You want to be a little more careful when you make? Fine. Get out of the left lane. That's all I'm saying. Just get your ass out of the left lane. Then we could all get to work a little faster. I felt bad. Drew was here he got here way later than normal.
He comes in a different direction, man. There's some, traffic, highway traffic, accidents, all that kind of stuff happens sometimes. So hope everybody's being safe out there. Just some rain, just some steady rain in the Kansas City area this morning. Let's talk about the Chiefs, though, because we know on Sunday they're going to take on Buffalo. The Chiefs are underdogs, still a rare underdog spot, but it's usually a good spot for Kansas City. And I think this Sunday's game not only swings the number one seed conversation, but how do you view just the rest of the season? That would be the regular season going, because everybody had their preseason expectation record-wise. Everybody does the same exercise as a fan wherever you're at in every market.
Every bar you're sitting at, whatever.
Yeah, how many wins? You saw the schedule. They win in 12 games. They win in 14 games. Where are you at? So we all had our preseason, and I'm curious and ask you guys on the text line too, where are you now based on what you were preseason? Because I think especially – if you believe the Chiefs are not losing on Sunday and they get to 10-0, then how are you not increasing your preseason win total by 1 or 2? For example, I thought they were going to go 14-3 preseason. That's obviously very much in play. I don't know how I don't bump that to at least 15-2 if they beat Buffalo, right? Because I had, out of the 3 losses, 14-3, I had them losing to Buffalo and I had them losing to Atlanta, by the way, and I think Pittsburgh. I think those were the 3 losses preseason back in August. So now they've made it past Atlanta without a loss. They're playing Buffalo on Sunday. If they don't lose this one on Sunday, then how do I not bump my win total like 15-2 or 16-1?
I think the absolute basement left in this season for the Chiefs, before I even know whether or not they win this game on Sunday, which is a game they certainly can lose. We know that. Bare minimum, 13 wins, which was my original projection. But that's now the low water mark. That's things went kind of poor for the rest of the season for them to get there. Just to finish that way, reminder, they've played 9 games. They have 8 more remaining, which means to finish 13-4, I have to assume this team is going to finish 4-4 the rest of the season on a schedule that currently ranks 15th based on opponents' win percentage. I don't think so.
Right now, if you go look ahead lines, if you just base it off of betting trends too, so we know the Chiefs are 1.5 or 2.5 point underdogs on Sunday, depending on the book and when you got the number. Against Carolina in a week from now, the look ahead line's already 11.5 in favor of the Chiefs, and they play the Raiders. They're already looking ahead, 11-point favorites. They play the Chargers in week 14, 3.5 point favorites as of now. Week 15, some of the look ahead lines at Cleveland -6.5. Houston, the Chiefs would be 3.5 point favorites at Pittsburgh Christmas Day -1.5. And then the last week of the season, we don't know if that game's going to matter, but the Chiefs would be 3.5 point favorites if everybody was starting. So this is the last game. Maybe the Pittsburgh game changed. The last game they will be any even closer than a field goal, less than a field goal favorite in these games. Everybody else is more than a field goal. So if they get through this one Sunday, how are you not putting it up to 15 wins?
If you made me guess right now what their finished record is, I'll still say 14-3, which is better than my original season prediction. The problem is, if they lose this game, it's not like I think they're getting to 12-5. And if they win this game, I'm absolutely going to be at 15-2. Because they'll only have 7 games remaining then, and all I'm asking them to do is go 5-2 in those remaining.
And one of those, 2 of them are against Carolina and Cleveland.
So those are wins. So now I'm
actually
asking
3.
Go.
Carolina, Raiders, and Cleveland. I'm sorry. So 3 of them are against the Panthers, the Raiders, and the Browns.
Okay, so realistically, you're telling me if I already chalk those up to wins, I'm counting on them going 500?
Chargers, Texans, Steelers, Broncos.
Okay, I mean, that's a 500. Even if I'm just like a downer and I say 500. Just as a reminder, Texans are not playing good football. Steelers are, but the Texans are not playing good football. So like a lot of this, and the Broncos.
Yeah, we'll see where they are in a month and a half. But
you know, and the Broncos almost got the Chiefs in Kansas City, so certainly have to view that game different. But they also might be just throwing that one away. So if they finish 14-3, it'll be because they just gave that one away and were already the 1 seed. The revised record at the moment is, and this is incredible because last year they dealt with a lot of the same problems they're having this year, right? Wide receiver problems this year for injury, last year for talent. But they're having problems. They're having to reinvent themselves again. But they spent all 17 games last year trying to figure out how to be small ball offense. This year, when they were forced into it, they're like, oh, okay, old hat. Done that. That's why they're not a great offense or an elite offense, but they're a better offense than they were last year. Points per game, ranking in points per game, the ability to move the football, all of those things. The reason why they're better is because they found out how to do that. Even though I would say at this stage, based on what I thought Rashee Rice was going to be this year, DeAndre Hopkins is probably a slight downgrade to maximum Rashee Rice would have been this season. Hasn't stopped him. It just hasn't stopped him, and it's not going to stop him this year. I'm curious, 913-586-7965. I guess just tell us what your new guess for the record will be.
Extend this conversation out for a second, though, because we're talking about the Chiefs, obviously, and what their record could be. And then you can look at the number 1 seed conversation where it's the Chiefs and the Bills as far as we're concerned. But record-wise, Pittsburgh, of course, is there, even if we don't believe as much in them. And we'll talk about the Steelers and where our belief is on them as a football team this year a little bit later on in the show. In fact, later on this hour. But same thing can be said. I mean, if you look at what is their win total or Buffalo's win total or Houston's win total look like, and are you upgrading or downgrading where you were at? I mean, a team like Houston, for example, they're at Dallas, then they have Tennessee, Jacksonville. Their next 3 games are I know they're very winnable games, right?
Yeah.
So Houston could go 3-0 over their next 3. Then they end the season because they have a late bye, week 14 bye. Crazy.
Yeah. Whoa. That'd be nice.
They finish the season against the Dolphins, Chiefs, Ravens, Titans. So there
That's
are
not a bad schedule either.
I think there's plenty of wins on the table. You would hope if you're a Texans fan. I don't know what you were preseason. I thought they were an AFC title representative, right? I didn't think they were going to Super Bowl. I thought they were going to an AFC title game. They haven't looked like that. Will Anderson come back? Will Nico Collins actually be back this week? It looks like finally on Monday Night Football against the Cowboys he will.
Looks that way.
But we can play the same game with any of these other Buffalo. I mean, they in their season, their final 4 are Detroit, Patriots, Jets, Patriots.
Oh no. The Patriots twice? Must be nice.
That's how they end it. But that's after a stretch of Kansas City, San Francisco, Rams, and Detroit.
I think the most difficult schedule remaining, just based on not like win percentage. I haven't looked that up for other teams here yet. But it's got to be the Steelers. Like they play a murderer's row.
Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincy, Cleveland, Philly, Baltimore, KC, Cincy.
That's tough, especially because we know division games kind of operate a little bit differently. According to win percentage, Pittsburgh has the 7th hardest remaining strength of schedule. Kansas City has the 14th highest remaining strength of schedule. Denver 20th. Like some of the teams, Houston 26th. Indianapolis, a team that people still think could make the postseason, 31st. They only have 2 winning teams left on their record. Those are Detroit, who's not playing quite as well as Detroit had been. They're still winning. And Denver, a team that you don't know a ton about. And so, like,
Pittsburgh would be 1, 2, 3, 4 of their games, 5 of their games. They would be underdogs and look ahead lines, believe it or not, the remaining games. That's kind of crazy for a team that
Kansas City, Philly, Baltimore twice probably.
Yeah, Baltimore, they're underdog already. They'd be an underdog right now on the look-ahead line against Cincy in Week 13. We'll see if that holds.
It's a road game, right?
It is a road game. At Philly right now, they'd be 3.5-point dogs, and then they play at Baltimore. They'd be 6.5-point dogs, and they play at Kansas City. Not at Kansas City, home against Kansas City, and they'd be 1.5-point dogs. Those are look-ahead lines way down the road. They'll change, but just gives you an idea of how tough their schedule is the rest of the way.
Regarding the Chiefs, I'm going to be that guy that goes a little bit different than you. I'm going to say 13-4 rather than 14-3.
Okay.
I think it's the
so
worst
you still
record.
think they're going to finish 500 the rest of the way?
So the reason why I say that isn't necessarily because I think it's going to happen. We're talking worst-case scenario is they have the close games where, you know what, they don't get the blocked field goal. Or, some of the games that have been tighter, maybe they have those and they're not on the better end of them. They're on the worst end. Again, that's worst case scenario. Do I think they're going 13-4? No, but I would
say where are the 4 losses? I would love to. Where are the 4 losses? I mean, that means you would think
Buffalo this week for sure.
It would have to be if you think
it would be. It would be Buffalo. It'd be
Steelers road.
It'd be a Steelers road game. I think the one game that if you look at the schedule that you say they have no business losing, but who knows? The Browns because the defense is so good. And then maybe the Broncos again because they play them tight or what have you. Or maybe the Chargers show up and they find a way to win a close one. But that, again, is worst case. I don't think there's any way they lose 5. By the way, it's not happening.
We are remembering Cleveland's defense for...
Not the same defense this year.
Who they were last year. Cleveland's defense currently ranks 21st in points allowed per game. They're like middle of the pack in sacks per game. That's not a good defense. Myles Garrett's great, but that team's quit. And I don't blame them for quitting. They definitely should. They should just throw it in.
They definitely should, he says.
That one's over. The second they started Deshaun Watson again, they should have quit.
What's crazy about Myles Garrett is last week or a week and a half ago, because I guess they were on a bye, he had 3 sacks against the Chargers. Prior to that, he had 3 straight games with none. So his season sack total is 7, which nothing to complain about. But what's crazy, he had 3 of them in his last game. Otherwise, he was only having a 4-sack season through the first 7 games of the year.
And I feel
for
like
him, that's down.
Also, with Jameis Winston, when they play the Chiefs, Jameis might have no touchdowns and 4 picks against the Chiefs, or he's going to have 4 touchdowns, no picks, and he throws for 350 yards for some reason, and it makes no sense.
Texline wants me to do something that I refuse to do. I told you until they're back to 500. They want me to have Drew predict, since he predicted Chiefs losses, let's hear his predictions on Bengals losses. Nope, we're not doing that. I mean, you're more than welcome to do that if you would like. I told you I'm not talking about 500. Not talking about a team that's 2 games below 500 until they're above 500.
Request.
Yep.
I will not say anything about them.
But they may never get above 500.
Well, we'll see what happens.
That is a possibility.
Let's talk about Sunday quarterbacks, though, because I think these are clearly the top 2 quarterbacks. I understand Lamar Jackson is playing better than any other player, maybe in football right now.
I believe so.
But if we're still talking like, who would you rather have as your quarterback? And right now, I would rather have Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes still as my quarterback. And that's just based off of what I think we have seen in some moments of their careers. One quarterback, of course, has been able to have head-to-head success in the regular season. That would be Josh Allen. The Bills, 3-1 the last couple regular season, 2-1 the last couple regular season games. We know Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs has not lost to Josh Allen. We're all well aware of that. I just look at Josh Allen this year. What's funny is the conversation is all about turnovers, because the reason why Josh Allen is having such a great year is he is not making the dumb red zone decisions to this point. We'll see if that comes back up. Hopefully Sunday, by the way, for the Chiefs' sake. Sure. But remember last year, so much of the narrative around Mahomes was like, he's getting away with not throwing picks. Like the turnover-worthy play grade from Pro Football Focus, and it annoyed a lot of Chiefs fans because they're like, hey, he's not throwing the picks, so what are we doing? This year, we know Patrick Mahomes has 9 turnovers. Josh Allen only has 4. Great numbers. What's funny, it's reverse from the very conversation we had a year ago. Josh Allen has 13 turnover-worthy plays. Patrick Mahomes has 8. Now, I'm not saying Josh you either have the turnovers or you don't, but you notice nobody's talking about that for Josh Allen, when last year Patrick Mahomes didn't have the turnovers, but they're like, well, he should have a bunch more. Well, you know who should have a bunch more? Josh Allen should have a bunch more this year.
He should, but also that stat is
I hate it. I only bring it up because of last year's narrative.
Look, I understand. I think every quarterback, if I had to go back through and watch the tape, this is like the people who nitpick the 4 missed penalties against the Chiefs in the last game or whatever. Every team doesn't have penalties called against them. Do we have to go screenshot by screenshot for every team because you think the league is rigged? Yes, Josh Allen probably could have thrown a few more interceptions this year. Patrick Mahomes also probably could have thrown a few more interceptions this year. He also probably could have had a few less interceptions based on some balls that were like tipped at the line of scrimmage. They weren't a bad throw. He didn't make a terrible decision. He just got kind of unlucky, which happens occasionally in the league. I don't view that any different. The way I still view them as the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL. This is not meant to be a shot to Lamar Jackson, who I think is the 3rd best quarterback in the NFL during that time. Lamar's got more hardware. It's kind of inarguable. He's got the 2 MVPs. Obviously, Josh Allen doesn't have any. Josh Allen has 1 conference title game appearance. Lamar Jackson has 1 conference title game appearance. Neither of them has some massive amount of success. We sometimes talk about Josh Allen as doing a better job getting Mahomes. Mahomes still has the overall record, 4-3. What has stood out about these two, and maybe this is why I feel this way about Josh Allen, is I just get to see him more. Do you know that this is only the second time in NFL history that two quarterbacks who are not in the same division have faced each other 8 times in a 5-year time period? Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes face each other all the time. They're not even in the same division. But every year, because they both win their division, not like Lamar, every year they both win their division, so they got to face each other. Every year, they run into each other in the playoffs. So every single season, even though these two teams should not see each other every year, they do. Every year. And so I've seen most of the time, twice a year. So I've seen these two quarterbacks so often. I just respect Josh Allen's game so much at this point, because when I watch him play, I'm like, that is a legitimately great quarterback. And if you gave me any quarterback to start a franchise with that wasn't Patrick Mahomes, I would choose Josh Allen. He's a problem. He creates throws out of nothing. He makes magic happen. He is incredible with his legs, but he's also a dynamic deep ball passer and everything passer. I don't know. He just looks like the second best quarterback in the league to me.
Yeah, I've had him number 2 going back to last season in the NFL. I think for him, the question I have remaining this year, not only like any of the other AFC quarterbacks, essentially, can you get over the hump? I hope not. But also, when the moment is big, and I'll include this Sunday as the first real game where it'll feel like a playoff game for Buffalo. When they're in the red zone against Kansas City and it's a tight game and maybe things aren't going well and Josh Allen feels like he has to make a play, does he revert back to what has gotten him in trouble in the playoffs, in trouble at times in big-time games, which is the red zone turnover? That's all. He'll put up crazy numbers. I mean, the 13-second game was incredible. We all know he played out of his mind, and they still lost.
Played
and,
nearly perfect.
It wasn't his fault or anything like that, but it happened. I'm curious, just can the Chiefs get him in those spots where he feels like he has to make a play? And I think that's where the mistake comes. He hasn't had them this year, though.
I guess at this point, I'll probably stop wondering about it. The only question I ever had about Josh Allen was the same, essentially, question you have about Lamar Jackson is, can he run like this forever? Like, can it? And like, someone's like, well, he's built like an absolute tank. And you're like, yep. And I always point out like the one example, because I don't have a lot of examples of people built like Josh Allen who play quarterback.
Yeah.
The only example I have is Cam Newton, whose body, he was a lot like a running back. Cam Newton went until his body was like, dude, we're done here. You're not running like that anymore. The difference is,
I think Cam Newton was bigger than Josh Allen too.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I believe. I mean, we've seen now. Like,
Cam Newton.
I never got to see Cam Newton play in person. I've seen Josh Allen play in person a few times. The last time I saw Cam Newton, we were on Radio Row in Vegas, and all three of us were there, and he was just in normal street clothes, and you didn't realize how massive a human being Cam Newton is.
And then you remember why in college he made everyone look like they were an elementary school kid. You're like,
just from the week.
Yeah, no wonder no one tackled you.
He was listed at 6'5", 245.
Cam was?
Yeah.
What's Josh listed at?
It's a defensive end.
I'm just kidding. I don't know what they list Josh Allen. Either way, the point.
6'5", 237.
Okay. All right. So yeah.
I mean,
you need to see him in person, I think, to really
appreciate
to understand, I guess.
I think to your point though, it's just whether or not when he's in his early 30s or late 30s, early 30s, if that changed. There was a conversation in Buffalo, I don't know, a year ago, and then they kind of gave up on it, which was, hey, we gotta be careful. We're not gonna run him as much. Then they realized, no, that's what makes him great. The ability for him to run the football as well.
Here's the one thing where I get hung up on Josh Allen versus Mahomes, and like if you said, hey, what is the gap? You think Mahomes is 1 and Josh Allen is 2. Why? I'll still tell you, if somebody asked me in Buffalo, there's a significant gap between the two. Like a pretty good sizable gap between 1 and 2 is because Josh Allen is probably the most consistent quarterback in the entire league. Look up his stats. Look up his yards per year, his yards per attempt, his touchdowns per year, his interceptions per year. I mean, it is remarkably consistent. That consistency also comes with he gets knocked out at the same time in the playoffs every single time. Like those interceptions you say he makes. Like he's never led the league in anything. He's never won MVP. He's never led the league in passing yardage. He's never led the league in passing touchdowns. He's never, you know what I'm saying? Like, after a while, like, and this sounds like stupid, but like if you go look up someone's stats, like George Brett's in like a Baseball Reference or Pro Football Reference, the all-time greats, the guys who are legitimate, they have stats in which they've like led the league. They were like in their best years, they led the league. It feels like with Josh Allen, there is no floor, but there is no like secret ceiling that exists that he could still just like have in an individual year. Lamar hits his ceiling every once in a while. You're like, damn, Lamar. Okay, cool. I got it. You're just better than everybody this year. Right? You're going to play the best quarterback in the league this year, Lamar, which is what he's doing again on his way to maybe his third MVP trophy. I'm assuming he's the favorite. I haven't looked at the odds here lately, but I assume that's my one hang up on Josh Allen is there some like secret level you take your game to over a course of a season that just makes you an unstoppable force?
And I think this year, of course, Lamar's right in the mix for it. I think Josh Allen still has, especially this head-to-head. It sounds silly, but it's narrative stuff. If Josh Allen beats Mahomes head-to-head, that goes a long way for his MVP case this year. Sure. Right now, the three quarterbacks we're talking about are the three favorites. I mean, no surprise. Lamar's decent-sized favorite right now, plus 100. Josh Allen's 4-1. Mahomes is 6-1, and there's a big drop-off. After that, it's they're cut in half of the odds. 12-1 for Jalen Hurts, 14-1 for Jaden Daniels. So right now, it's as we know, this thing can change in a hurry. Right now, it looks like a 3-horse race, but 2 weeks ago, everybody thought Jaden Daniels had a chance to win it. So it can change just like that. And I think Sunday's game actually could move the needle on that specific conversation. We already talked about the number one seed implications, but if you're focusing on the MVP market, which we'll talk more about tonight, that betting show is back tonight here on 96.5 The Fan. I'll be on from 6 to 7, and then Drew and Mac will be hosting After Hours tonight.
We will.
I think the last time we had Ross Tucker on, who's going to join us in 8 minutes, I had asked him, I was like, or 2 weeks ago, I was like, I think it's offensive if anyone decides to make Patrick Mahomes an underdog in a football game ever again.
Here we are.
Here we are, a 2.5-point underdog to the Buffalo Bills. Just as a quick little reminder, Patrick Mahomes is 11-3, straight up, when an underdog in a football game. He is 12-1-1 against the spread, if you feel like betting it. Andy Reid, since 2016, is 16-1-1 against the spread. Why do they make the Chiefs underdogs? If Patrick Mahomes is on your team, you're not an underdog. You shouldn't be an underdog. It's stupid if you are. It's a mistake. And I get it. It's in Buffalo. They're a really good football team.
They're 2-1 in the regular season recently against Kansas City.
Josh Allen is 3-1 all time against Patrick Mahomes in the regular. Whatever you want to give me in this stuff, it's stupid. If you make them an underdog, they're going to win. Take
advantage of it then. Take advantage of what looks like a mistake again. Second time this year they've been an underdog. The first time against the Niners, they ended up winning outright by 10 points. I think they're going to win outright on Sunday. If not, this is we'll talk about it more tonight, but another great teaser opportunity. Tease the Chiefs up 6.
Take it up to a touchdown or something?
All of a sudden, the Chiefs are 7.5-point dogs. You pick another game. Maybe you tease the Texans down to just 1-point favorites at Dallas, something like that. That would be like the 4th straight week in a row I have teased the Chiefs. And they've hit, since that Raiders game, 3 straight teasers in a row. And if you didn't tease it, you would have lost your bet.
This doesn't feel like a loss for me. I bet the 49ers last time. Because, again, if Patrick Mahomes, like from a betting perspective, if Patrick Mahomes is an underdog, I'm going to bet it. There are 4 certainties in my world where when they're an underdog, I'm betting it. One is Kansas, funny enough, because you're in your Jayhawk city. One is if Kansas is an underdog in the second half at Allen Fieldhouse. Okay, here's my money. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on, and you can do whatever you want, bookmaker, in the live betting odds. I'm going to go ahead and take Kansas at home when they're an underdog in the second half. There better be like 2 minutes left, and they're down 15 if you think I'm taking the other side. No chance. If Mahomes is an underdog in a football game, I'm betting them. That's just reality at this point for me.
Should be an automatic fire. I'm with you.
It's almost the same thing as if they're down at halftime and they were plus money on the money line. Take them on the money line.
That's another. I was so depressed. They got to plus money in the Broncos game, and I live in Missouri, and you can't lie bet anymore. And I was like, I just want to. And I didn't want to be that guy. I briefly thought, well, I could text Alex, and he'd probably place the bet for me. I was like, I don't want to text Alex in the middle of a Sunday to make the. And he was on the Missouri side. He was at the game.
Couldn't have done it for you.
But it's just like, I didn't want to
text. Next football season, live betting.
I didn't want to text some person who lives. Text Drew, be like, hey, Drew, I'd like to bet.
Can you place this for me?
And by the time I text Drew, he agrees to do it.
The line
he
changes.
Places the bet. The Chiefs had gone down and scored a touchdown anyway, and I've wasted my time. Live betting sometimes needs to be bet live, like immediately. Not like you're going to text your buddy for 45 minutes trying to figure out the best line or the best odds or if they got money in their account or anything else in between. I just wanted to bet it, that's all.
Up next, we're going to chat with our Odyssey NFL insider, Ross Tucker. Want to ask him about what he saw from Wanya Morris, and is there hope long-term for Kingsley Suamataia?
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
It is nice being able to drive in the rain and not worry about your car, thanks to my friends over at Volkswagen Lee Summit. Yeah, new car comes with new tires, but also comes with advanced weather tracking systems. Like, we've got if you forget to brake, the car will brake for you situation. That didn't happen to me this morning. I'm a safe driver, and I want to take care of my new ride because let me remind you what my plan was. I bought a new car knowing that, look, I don't have the kind of means where I can just buy a new car for my kid when they turn 16. I had to work when I was a kid to turn 16 to get my new car. I wanted the ability to drive something that I knew I could pass on to my daughter so that the next time we buy a new car for my wife from Volkswagen Lee Summit, she could pass it on to our son. That way we have cars we know we've taken care of. They'll take care of from their service department, that we can hand it off to them. And there's no better time to buy a car at Volkswagen Lee Summit than right now during their winter clearance sale. You can get up to $8,000 off of certain remaining 2024 Volkswagen models, up to $5,000 off of MSRP on Jettas, Taos, or Tiguan, which is the car I got, or up to $8,000 off the Atlas or Atlas Crossport if you need a slightly bigger vehicle. The discounts have never been bigger over at Volkswagen Lee Summit, so get the best prices. They'll have all year during their winter clearance event. They also, if you don't want to do the MSRP, you can choose from 0% APR for the life of the loan up to 60 months, or sign then drive leases where you pay $0 down and $0 next month on select VW models. Don't miss out. Find a used car, find a new car, get what you need at VWLeeSummit.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our process. From your traditional marketing to social media to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com. That's scalemarketing.com.
This is a story of the one.
As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
I'm Jenna Fisher. And I'm Angela Kinsey. And together we have the podcast Office Ladies. Just because we finished rewatching The Office does not mean we're going anywhere. Every Wednesday, we'll be sharing even more exclusive stories from The Office and our friendship with brand new guests. Plus, you can revisit all the Office Ladies rewatch episodes every Monday with new bonus tidbits before every episode.
So follow and listen to Office Ladies on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Just getting started here on a Wednesday. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Here in 15 minutes, we'll talk more about the Steelers and a team that's not discussed a whole lot when we look at the AFC number 1 seed conversation. Should we? How do we view them? We'll get to that in a little bit, and maybe our next guest also has some thoughts on Pittsburgh. And that, of course, is Ross Tucker, our Odyssey NFL insider. And our insider calls are brought to you by Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. May your game day be delicious. And this is great timing to have you on, Ross, because you played NFL. Of course, you played offensive line, I should say, in the NFL. And the story this week in Kansas City is all about what's going on at left tackle. And in particular, Wanya Morris, who got hurt, came back in. The rookie, Kingsley Sumatia, has been rough, to say the least. So what have you seen, if you had a chance to watch that game against Denver at all, from Wanya in particular, who I think Chiefs fans are appreciating more and more based off of the backup that came in?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way to describe it. I think Wanya is okay. I think Kingsley is not. And that's kind of the difference, right? I mean, Wanya is good enough that the Chiefs can probably get by and keep winning the way they have been. I think Kingsley is very likely to cost them a game at this point, and maybe a critical game. I guess, what's the update on Wanya's injury?
I mean, he got back in that game yesterday, but here's the secret behind the way the Chiefs handle media. I won't know how Wanya is until Andy Reid gives an update today in about an hour, Ross. So we'll get an idea of whether he's on the practice field probably inside of an hour. If he practices, he'll be okay. The real question is, do they baby it because they don't want to see Kingsley on the field?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, right? Because, I mean, it's rare for a guy to come back in a game and or finish a game and not play the next week. It happens sometimes, where a guy can, suck it up and play the rest of the game, and then they do some type of imaging, or after the game, they're like, oh, wow, this is a worse injury than we realized. I can't believe that guy was able to suck it up and play through that. That happens every once in a while. But usually if a guy, A, comes back in a game, B, finishes a game, he's usually able to play in the next game. I do think, obviously, this is the biggest game of the NFL regular season so far, and probably will end up being the case because, I think the teams right now in the AFC look better, the Bills and Chiefs, than anybody in the NFC. Although the Eagles are kind of coming now, and this game will go along. Like if the Chiefs win this game, they're going to have the number 1 seed.
Yep,
I mean, they just are. So there is a lot of importance on it from that perspective to play Wanye to make sure they win the game, but also, they got to make sure. They're in a good situation. Actually, it really depends on the injury, but I was going to say they want to let that thing heal if it's something that he needs to give some time to. But the weird thing is, they might have like multiple weeks at the end of the year. But that's a long way away right now. It's like 2 months away.
I just think they just start doing like if they win this game, give Travis the day off against the Panthers. Wanye can have that day off too. Kingsley can get some work in that day too, Ross.
You know what's so funny that you said that? It's so funny that you said that because before that, like basically NFL load management, before the season, I have a fantasy podcast. I have a bunch of podcasts, but in particular the Fantasy Feast podcast, my co-host was not high on Travis Kelce for fantasy football at all because he said that he thought Travis was going to be a smart time player during the regular season. Basically a play on words from part-time player, but he called him a smart time player, meaning that he really thought the Chiefs would manage Travis's snaps and playing time to make sure he was 100% for January like he was last year, which is why a big reason why they won the Super Bowl, which he definitely wasn't last year during the regular season. I mean, you guys have to correct me if I'm wrong, but just watching the games, it doesn't seem like that's been the case at all.
Yeah. He's had like 30 catches the last.
The ball 20 times.
Yeah, 16 targets a week or so ago. So that definitely hasn't been the case whatsoever, as we're talking with Ross Tucker, Odyssey NFL Insider. Back to the offensive line just for a second. A lot of the conversation here about Donovan Smith, who played left tackle in Kansas City a year ago. He still hasn't been signed by anybody. He's out on the street. How difficult or problematic would it be if later on in the season or a week from now they bring him in, he's on the practice squad for a couple weeks, and at some point would have to play? How easily do you think Donovan Smith could be ready if a Wanye Morris got hurt and they realize they can't start the rookie?
Pretty easily, pretty quickly, depending on what he's been doing. I mean, the fact that he hasn't retired would make me think that he probably has been staying in shape and waiting for an opportunity like this, but you also don't know. I mean, it's November. There are guys that, Ndamukong Suh got to a point where he did it like 3 years in a row, where he just wouldn't go to training camp. He wouldn't even play the first half of the year. He would wait to see which teams actually had a chance to do something, and then he would sign with one of them and be fresh for the second half of the year in the playoffs. That might be the case with Donovan. I don't know him that well. Watching him at times in college, and even for the Chiefs, he doesn't strike me as the always ready, working out every day kind of guy. I've never gotten that. That said, they could very easily. In fact, I don't know that he would do it. I mean, if he would do this, he probably already would be signed somewhere. But yeah, I think it's probably time pretty soon to call him back, get him on the practice squad, and then have him if he's willing to do that. They might have to give him some decent coin to do that. Because if he's willing to be on a practice squad, trust me, there's a ton of teams that would already want him on the practice squad. I mean, he probably doesn't want to play unless someone pays him per week what he thinks he's worth.
Ross, I'd like to talk other things in the NFL with you as well. It's just announced that the Colts are going to go back to Anthony Richardson as their starting quarterback after the Joe Flacco stuff went so poorly. Sometimes it's like victim of recency bias. So I guess I'll take your opinion. You get to catch a lot of different games in the NFL. I feel like the last 18 months in the NFL is a how-to book for dummies on how to not handle young quarterbacks. Is that what feels like is happening in the league? Between Caleb Williams and the setup they've got going on there and not getting rid of Eberflus before, or Anthony Richardson now or anyone else in between. It feels like there's been a lot of mishandling of young quarterbacks.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit, okay? Let's start with Caleb Williams. What's your issue with what the Bears have done there?
For the third straight time, they have drafted a young quarterback, Trubisky, Justin Fields, and that, kept the old coach who stunk, let him start, and then fired, and then made the young quarterback start with a fresh guy. By the time this season's done, Eberflus won't be his coach, and he'll be under completely different offensive management. They did the talent thing around him, which I like. Hey, put a bunch of people around him. I hate the idea that they stuck with Eberflus.
Got it. So first of all, Eberflus. Just so we know. That's okay. You don't work in Chicago radio. You work in Kansas City radio. That's fine. I guess I can see that. What I would tell you is last year he took over as the DC, and for the second half of the year, the defense was very, very good.
Yeah.
And actually, they've been very good this year with him calling the defense. So I can see why the Bears did not want to move on from Eberflus. They won a bunch of games at the end of last year. The defense played so well. I think they wanted Caleb Williams to go to a team with a good defense. He absolutely has. They don't want to lose that part of it. But they said, you got to get a new OC. So he did. He got Waldron, who 2 years ago, everybody was giving all of the credit to for Geno Smith having that incredible year, right? So nobody, when he hired Waldron, or not many people, like panned it. They understood it because of what he had done with Geno. Your point's well taken. I guess I just think sometimes the players have to take some accountability, right? Like Trubisky has had other opportunities now. Fields has had other opportunities now with other organizations, and they've shown that they're just not that good. And maybe that's the case with Caleb Williams. Maybe not. We'll see. In terms of the Anthony Richardson thing, you know, they were 4-3, and they had just lost a very, very winnable game that he came out of, which none of us have ever heard of in our entire life. A quarterback tapping out of a game like that.
Weird.
We've never heard of that. Late third quarter, very winnable game, and he lost a lot of respect from the guys in the locker room for doing that. He was also putting up some of the most hilarious stat lines we've ever seen and playing atrocious. And so I think Shane Steichen thought, how am I going to, like, go into this locker room and tell the guys that this kid's starting again? I'm not giving them the best chance to win. He didn't think he was. And so he wanted to go with Flacco. Where I think he's making a mistake is I think I would have stuck with Flacco for one more week. It wouldn't have just been a 2-week thing for me with Flacco, because they went against the Vikings on the road, very good defense, and the Bills, and he did some really good things against the Bills. He also had a couple turnovers. I would have given Flacco the Colts are still very much in the playoff race. Mm-hmm. I would have given Flacco one more game against the Jets this Sunday.
Last one for you, Ross. What about Pittsburgh? Because it feels different than a couple years ago when they had that, what was it, like a 10-0, 11-0 start, and nobody believed in them, and they're like, okay, they're not real, and then everybody was kind of proven correct. This go around, I don't know if I believe they can go to a Super Bowl, but I certainly don't think they're, this fake, phony team. Their schedule just gets way tougher here down the stretch.
Way, way tougher, which is going to be a problem. And it's so funny because, I was on with the guys in Buffalo. I go on with you guys 10:30 Central every Wednesday. I go on with the guys in Buffalo 5 o'clock Eastern every Tuesday. They asked me about the Steelers, too. I don't know if you guys are comparing notes, but this is like...
We're all just curious if we should take them serious.
No, that's fair. And what I would say is I would take them serious in any one-game scenario.
There you go, yeah.
I would not take them serious to go to the Super Bowl and or win it. And the reason why I say that is because they're going to have to win 3 playoff games, at least, just to get to the Super Bowl. And in at least 2 of those, maybe even all 3, they're going to have to defeat an MVP-level quarterback, right? Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Russell Wilson's done some positive things. Russell Wilson has helped that team. Russell Wilson's playing pretty well. He's not nearly on the level of those other 3 guys. That's really the problem for any of the other teams in the AFC. Now, I think the Chargers, they feel like Herbert's kind of getting there. We know Burrow can play at that level. The reality is, I don't see a team going to the Super Bowl from really either conference, but especially the AFC, without having a quarterback playing at an MVP-like level, because you have to win 3 games unless you get the number 1 seed. And even if you just have to win 2 games, then you're still playing against Lamar, Josh Allen, or Mahomes in those 2 games. And do I think you're going to win those games late against them? No, maybe 1, but not 2 or 3 or 4.
Ross Tucker, our Odyssey NFL insider. Appreciate it, man. Where are you at this weekend? You got a college game?
Oh, no. I got an awesome weekend. Tomorrow night, I'm in the radio booth for Westwood 1 with Ian Eagle for Commanders Eagles. I don't know if you guys carry the Westwood broadcast or not, but that Commanders Eagles game is going to be huge. And then I'll fly right to Miami first thing Friday morning. I got the Raiders at the Dolphins for CBS on Sunday, which I'm looking for. The Dolphins actually looked pretty darn good Monday night. So I'm curious. I think I saw somewhere where they have a 25% chance to make the playoffs. I have no idea what the math is on that, but I'm looking forward to see if they can kind of go on a run here.
Not bad at all. You get to stay in your backyard for football tomorrow night, and then you get to go down to South Beach. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
There you go. Ross Tucker, our Odyssey NFL insider. He joins us each and every Wednesday here on Cody and Gold, and he's presented by Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. May your game day be delicious. It is a good Thursday night football game tomorrow. We'll talk maybe about that when we get there at some point tomorrow afternoon. But that's a good Thursday nighter, man. Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts.
The NFL slate is 3 awesome games, and everything else is garbage. It's 3. Well, this is the latest in the season that 3 7-win teams have all faced off in 3 matchups. So, this is the latest in the season. We've seen, 3 teams, all with at least 7 wins, all battling. All the other games stink as a result of that. Because you've got 6 teams with 7 or more wins facing off against each other.
We asked him about Pittsburgh there. We were going to talk about Pittsburgh here anyway. That's why we asked the question. And I think how he described it is honestly, I think is completely right, which is we all think they're real in terms of they're not fake like they were a couple years ago.
They could beat Kansas City in a month.
But as he said, 1 game. But are they really going to win in wild card weekend and then divisional round weekend and then AFC title game weekend with Russell Wilson? I don't think so. But with that defense and with what they got going with Russell Wilson and Pickens enough, they absolutely can win a playoff game and give you fits in a playoff game. But we're going to learn a ton more about can they win consecutive games with their schedule? We already went through it. I mean, it is brutal. They're going to be underdogs in probably 4 of the 6, I think I said, or something like that.
Even though they're a 7-2 football team, which really does say something. But also, I'm close. I'll admit, I am close to buying into the Steelers as being an actual threat in the AFC. Mostly because they play, and we said this week 2, play a lot like the Chiefs. It is a elite level defense. They have an elite level defensive player. They have good weapons on offense. Especially George Pickens might be one of the 10 most talented wide receivers in the league.
He's playing great right now.
He's playing great. Once they get him engaged and activated.
That's the key. Yeah.
Well, look, when they're winning, he's engaged. So, he's interested in playing right now, which means he's going to do the job at the level he's doing it. He makes more circus catches than anyone else in the league. They have one of the best coaches in the league. My whole hang-up is the only thing that's stopping me from buying in is how big of a gap do I think this version of Russell Wilson is? If this was prime Russell Wilson, the Russell Wilson I thought Denver was getting in making for the trade, and I hadn't watched him fail and stink, I'm probably buying in.
Yeah, 2019 Russell Wilson or something?
I'm probably buying in.
Yeah.
I'm probably buying in to everything the Steelers are doing. I'm like, damn, a Super Bowl winner, a guy who's been to a couple. He's played through these postseasons. He's gotten some big wins. With Tomlin and the Steelers, I'd probably buy in. But because I watched Russell Wilson just be just stink.
Does
For
that
2 years, I can't yet.
So does that make, for the reason you said, Cody, that they're very similar in style of play to the Chiefs? Does that make them does that make you a little bit more nervous, maybe even than maybe the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens, because of the style of playing?
No.
You know the game is going to be ugly.
It is going to be ugly.
You know it's going to be that way.
It is going to be ugly, but as Ross said as well, at some point
It'll be the fourth quarter, and who are their quarterbacks?
you have to look at. I mean, I'm not saying there's not ever outliers. It does. There's been a few. It does happen. But in the AFC, when I have Mahomes, Allen, and let's say even if your guy somehow gets in the playoffs, Drew, and it's Burrow, those quarterbacks are miles ahead. Of Russell Wilson. And then as Russ said, on the NFC side even, whoever you think is right now playing the best football. I mean, Jalen Hurts is starting to play a lot better football now too. So Jalen Hurts or a Brock Purdy, you start to look at Jared Goff. I know the name, but I understand he threw 5 picks the other night, but he'd been playing great until then. Like, there's a gap between that guy and I don't know who the 7th seed would be right now in the NFC.
It's actually a pretty deep conference. Nobody's all that bad.
Might be an NFC North team because
like the Bucks or something.
Bucks will be the division winner though. Or no, you're right, wild card. Sorry, yeah, Falcons are division winner. So yeah, maybe it is the Bucks. So like even then, like that's a little more crowded. Like the names there don't stand out as much as Mahomes, Lamar, and Allen. But
what would it take for you to be? Is it them going through this stretch? Say they
go through this stretch well, 4-2, whatever. I mean,
say they're. I was gonna say they end up 11-6 and they win the division, or they go 12-5.
They go like 13-4. I'll
11-win team now.
Based on their schedule, they get to like 13 wins. No way to ignore them anymore. You can't ignore them.
If they win the AFC North, do you buy them regardless of the record?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because that's a difficult division to win. The Ravens have Lamar Jackson playing better than any quarterback in the league at the current level of play. This is not a.
It's crazy to think that they haven't even played a division game yet. I don't know if there's anybody else in that boat, but they're the only team that hasn't played a division game.
Sense.
2 against the Browns, 2 against the Ravens, 2 against the Bengals. It's just and then and then by the way, the Eagles are mixed in there too. So it's a crazy stretch coming up for Pittsburgh. They could either fall off in a big way, or we could be sitting here in a month and be like, wow, you know what? They're way more impressive than we thought. I still think the QB gap is. Ross said, is like they can win a game or two. Are they winning 3 straight games in the playoffs? I just don't believe it.
I don't believe it either. Well, I mean, again, time will tell. They have a chance to prove us all wrong. I'm close to buying what they're selling, but I'm just not there yet. You are going to be in a Hallmark movie coming up in 2 weeks?
November 30th.
November 30th. 17 days. You will make your film debut. You and I both got an invite yesterday.
We did.
An invite to a special screening down at the Sheridan for the Hallmark Christmas movie, in which you can bring a +1.
Holiday touchdown, a Chiefs love story.
They claim there will be a red carpet and interview opportunities. I guess the question I have is, you and I received the same invite despite the fact I am not in the movie.
Yeah, they sent it out to media.
You're not going to try to get on the red carpet, are you? Because you're not
invited.
I think
you should.
He's not invited.
I think you should.
It's not for him. The red carpet's for real actors.
Yeah, but I think the red carpet is in the lobby. I actually think everybody that's going to the event gets to walk on the red carpet. I don't think this is like the premiere. I think that's going on. This is a screening. I don't think this is not the premiere. I think that's taking place in like New York or LA this week or something. If I thought, I could be wrong. I thought they had their whole press junket thing for Hallmark with all their Christmas movies or whatever.
So you think the red carpet's for anyone who comes to this screening?
If you're invited, I mean, you have to obviously be invited to the party. I think it's everybody basically can walk on the red carpet, and then there's a reception before, and then the screening is at like 7 o'clock. The same time it'll be available for everybody to watch on Hallmark Channel. So I'm planning on going.
Are you going to attend?
I'm going full Oscars, man. I'm going full Oscars.
So you're wearing a suit.
Absolutely.
You're going to say I'm wearing Oscar de la Renta.
Well, I mean, I will not probably be that because it's definitely nothing like that. But I'm going to go. I think the exact dress code phrasing they put on the invite was game day glam. That was the invite.
I don't even know what that means. I just get something made by Christian Juszczyk.
I take this as, for a guy, I take it as suit with a little bit of red, like red in some form. Not the suit being red necessarily, but like I'm probably going suit, red tie. I might wear the bright red Mahomes shoes. I don't know. Something like that is what I'm going with. Yeah.
So you're going?
Yeah, I'm going full Oscars,
So if you're going full Oscars, then is your mom
I'm going to invite her. I get a +1. Absolutely.
Dude, I got to be honest with you. Your mom's a nice lady.
I'm not married. I don't know if you've known this or not.
No, I get it.
I don't know if you know. I'm not married, so I don't have the automatic.
Your mom's a great woman by all accounts. Seems like a lovely person.
Have you met her?
This is
ever?
I'm not. Yeah, I have.
Have you?
This is twice. This is the single greatest first date opportunity of your
No,
life.
disagree.
First date?
Not
Dude,
for a first.
are
Not
you
for a first date.
kidding?
Not
No
a first
way.
date.
This is the single most
way.
unique date you can take someone on.
No.
Premiere where you dress up, look good.
First date, though?
The back of your head might show up in the movie. Dude,
Hang on.
just take an opportunity. It costs one date. Take a swing. A girl you really like. Find the one you like the most on the apps. Some of you like. It doesn't matter. This is, and I get it. You'll be like, why first date? Because you're taking one big swing. You're taking a chance that maybe she's not. Who cares? But this is a fantastic date situation.
That means you better make the most out of it, is what Cody's saying.
I think he should take a date. Text line, let us know.
Here's
I disagree.
Here's where I push back on it for the first date. The first, not the idea. If I was already dating somebody, of course. Like if I had already been talking to somebody, it's a no-brainer. I would take them. It's an obvious thing. If I was in a long-term relationship, I would take them. It's very easy. You're obviously taking your wife. No kidding. Like, I mean, it's very, very, very easy to do this. The first date problem I would have is it's a cool event to take somebody to, no question. But there's an hour reception, and then you're sitting in a quiet theater. This, to me, is not much. You get the hour, but after that, then you're just like, I would never go on a first date to a movie because you're not talking for 2 hours, and you know what I mean. That's the only problem. But I understand. Trust me, it crossed my mind. But I'm not currently talking to someone.
Okay, but I want you to think about that's
the difference. Like, what am I going to hop on Bumble or Tinder and say, who wants to go to the Hallmark movie with me?
Because again, hear me out. If this works out, if this ends up being the girl, which, look, low odds, I get it. I understand. Low odds that she's the one. If she is, your How We Met story is fantastic.
At a Hallmark movie
At
screening.
a Hallmark movie that you're in, come on, man.
Hang on.
You are yourself, then a Hallmark movie.
I hear you.
Is it really meeting them, Cody, there? Or is it... We're on the apps.
The first time I ever meet them in person is on the red carpet.
Amazing. Amazing.
Someone says, Gold, this is where you really swing and get out of you swing really out of your league with something like this. I'm not even totally disagreeing with you. It crossed my mind, Cody. If I was already talking to somebody, that's a no-brainer. Otherwise, I'm going full Oscars, just like Bradley Cooper brought his mom to the Oscars a couple years ago. Going same thing. You know?
Okay.
Someone said, think of the pleasure, Alex.
Thanks, Drew. That was still...
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pay for that pleasure? Oh, boy.
That was worse than Drew's. I didn't...
There's a greater chance that it does result in some pleasure. Cody, you won up to me.
Yeah.
We're way late for a break. We'll get back to this, I'm sure. We'll get back to this topic a little bit later on in the day. You guys can keep texting it. Up next, though, let's talk about one player that maybe you're a little concerned could hit that wall. We'll explain what it is next.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Van.
Men, it's the holidays, a time of love and joy. But if you suffer from erectile dysfunction, the season can be tough on you. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you and your partner are experiencing struggles because of ED, change it up this year. Give the best gift you can give to the one you love by treating your ED and restoring your relationship. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts at treating ED. And as a Promenic restorative health practice, we've literally seen countless thousands of relationships renewed across the nation. Plus, with treatments having success rates well over 90%, coupled with many treatment options, we can likely find the right one for you. You may even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us and give your partner the best gift you can give this season. A renewed, restored relationship. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in our office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Hey investors, this is JD again with Crossroads Investment Lending. Still wanting to get into that fix and flip game? Don't have the money? Maybe you've always wanted to get yourself a rental property. We can help you get in the door. Call the fix and flip guys at Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900, or go to kclend.com. That's kclend.com. Get started in the fix and flip game. What are you waiting for? That's Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900 or kclend.com.
Hey, Kansas City, this is Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the Victory Effect, our pledge to drive down vehicle pricing for the city we love. I have some fantastic news to share with you all as we usher in the Ram Power Days for the month of October. MSRPs have dropped, rebates have increased, and the Federal Reserve has finally lowered interest rates. So along with that, Chrysler has just announced incentivized rates across our entire product lineup. Now, through the end of the month, well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 4.9% for 72 months on all 2025 Ram 1500s in stock. Not only can you take advantage of this great interest rate program, but as you all know, I'm going to throw unprecedented discounts on top of the incredible rates to get you an affordable monthly payment. If a Jeep or SUV is more of your liking, then come check out the new Wrangler or the new Jeep Grand Cherokee with special rates as low as 0% and once again paired with Victory's industry-leading pricing. Visit us at Kansas City's only automotive outlet mall, the Legends Auto Plaza, on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, just east of Nebraska Furniture Mart, or online at victorymotorskc.com, where our first price is better than their last.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review-rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal, that's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review-rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Hi, I'm Kim Myers, owner of Top Notch Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. We'd love to help with your plumbing emergencies, but the best way to ward off those expensive repairs is to schedule a $74 home plumbing inspection. We're still celebrating our 50th anniversary with top-notch deals like cleaning your dusty, moldy ducts for only $4.95. Think your furnace won't make it through the winter? Save thousands on a new Daikin system. Go to topnotchheatingandair.com for details. Thanks, and have a top-notch day.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. When sending a package, why venture outside? Ship with USPS for a true holiday ride. Want to stay cozy and warm? There's no need to roam. With free package pickup and labels printed from home. We have over 600,000 employees always in motion. And before you know it, your gift has delivered emotion. Spread the holiday joy this season with USPS's enhanced network. Learn more at USPS.com/holidayride. Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. When sending a package, why venture outside? Ship with USPS for a true holiday ride. Want to stay cozy and warm? There's no need to roam. With free package pickup and labels printed from home. We have over 600,000 employees always in motion. And before you know it, your gift has delivered emotion. Spread the holiday joy this season with USPS's enhanced network. Learn more at USPS.com/holidayride.
It's been a long time. The official Eras Tour book coming to Target on November 29th, featuring over 500 photographs from the tour, including never-before-seen performance and behind-the-scenes images. And for the first time, the Tortured Poets Department, the Anthology, with 35 tracks on CD and vinyl.
Only at Target.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-5795. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
We got a new function on the Odyssey app.
Did you guys know that this is a thing? I can send you messages from the Odyssey app. Kind of crazy.
KFNZ FM and AM HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Coming up a little bit later on in this hour, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan. That's around 11:45 or so. We'll hear from both of them. Get another update on Juju Smith-Schuster's status for Sunday's game. He's the only one of that grouping, Pacheco and Minihue, that has a chance to play on Sunday, in my opinion. I think we're kind of on the same page there. We know the practice window is opening up, but we'll see. It'd be nice to have Juju Smith-Schuster back in the mix. We'll also talk some Royals baseball in 15 minutes or so. A name that's out there in the trade market that's kind of interesting for the Royals, and are they in a spot? Considering the year they had, are they in a spot where this is a realistic trade? Not, we all would love Juan Soto. That's not realistic. But is this player realistic? We'll explain who that is in a second. But thinking of injuries and Pacheco maybe coming back over the next couple of weeks, we know Kareem Hunt has been sensational. But, man, they are having no issue running him into the ground a little bit, and they've had to. He's been sensational, and his carries have been well north of 20 for multiple games during, 6 games, I guess, he's been with the team. And we had Nate Taylor on the show yesterday. We asked him about, hey, is there any worry about running him into the ground a little too much?
I think the true answer is yes. He finally hit the wall because he had the least amount of time to rest and get ready for this game, and that goes along with all the Chiefs, right? Their schedule is such a hodgepodge of nonsense when you look at it because obviously they are the NFL's darling. They're going to be in every time zone this season except for the international one because they did that last year. So think about this from Kareem Hunt's standpoint. No training camp. They've been giving you the load. Hey, man, our quarterback's ankles kind of jacked up. We're going to hand you the ball a ton in the second half.
And so when you hear him say that, he's hit the wall, I agree. Bill Barnwell put out the stat this morning. Since he became the starting running back for the Chiefs, he got signed, he has led the NFL in touches per game at 24.6. I think it's fairly obvious now the Chiefs' plan was to not get Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt in a timeshare when he came back, but instead use every last bit of juice Kareem Hunt had until Pacheco could come back. Because this is crazy usage for a running back as it sits right now. I'm not surprised he's hit a wall. I do think his performance has come down each of the last 2 weeks, and they could use Pacheco back as a re-energized version of the run game.
Yeah, I mean, look, he had 14 carries this last week, and they were not effective running the ball against the good Broncos.
Pass catches, maybe 10?
Yeah, it's 7 catches for 65. Yeah. I guess I disagree. I get every definition hit a wall. The week before, the guy had 27 carries and 106 yards and a walk-off touchdown. So, I think
that grind was the first half too.
Yeah, I don't know if it's hit the wall, but definitely he's not gonna be able to do this for another 2 months of getting 20 carries. The good news is Isaiah Pacheco could be back in 3 weeks. I think for the sake of both of them, though, the minute Isaiah Pacheco's available, he shouldn't start getting 20 carries himself either. I don't know if that's be 50-50, 70-30, 60, 65-35. I don't know.
No one should be getting 24 touches a game. I know that.
That has to balance each other out because you still are talking about a player coming back from a pretty serious ankle injury and needed surgery in Pacheco's case. There's a way that this can work out for everybody. All right, you saved us during this stretch, Kareem Hunt. You were great. We're going to kind of lay off a little bit. We still need you, though. We're going to lay off a little bit. Pacheco, we know you're coming back from injury. We're not going to go 100% with you. We're going to balance this out. Let's not forget, a guy that hasn't been active in a while, I would not surprise me late in the year, especially if they have the 1 seed locked up, if we see for the first time all year, if we see Clyde actually get activated later.
Yeah, Carson Steele-Clyde game, week 16.
It would not surprise me.
That crazy.
Late in the year, if it looks like the 1 seed is safe, why at that point, really, why rack up any carries for Pacheco and Hunt? I would like at that point to activate Clyde for the first time, to have P. Ryan even play a little bit more. That's to me how they should handle it in December during that 3-game and 10 or 4-game and 17 or whatever it is
He was
stretch.
off the street, and they're letting him touch the ball 25 times a game. That's too much.
He's been awesome though, man. And
That's
they've had
too
it. They've
much.
needed it though. They've needed it. That's why
I
they're
know.
still undefeated.
I know. It is why they're still undefeated. But I also just think that, like, the juice is running out. Not for the season. Not that it can't be recovered. I just think if you get a guy who never had a training camp, you do those things, you hand him the ball 25 times a game. The last 2 games in particular, and I know we finished with 27 carries for 100 yards in the other one. Dude, it was a hard-earned 107.
Oh, yeah, he's beat
He
up.
had to work for it. And, yeah, that's the other part of it. I'm seeing a lot more of the Lorenzo Cain coming out of center field body movements where you're just like, looks like he's just dragging his whole ass body to the sideline like, I'll keep taking the ball if you keep giving it to me, but, like, coach, this hurts. Like, that man needs a break. Pacheco coming back is going to be good for him. That's also why I think in the last couple of games, we've seen those random Carson Steele moments, which give me, I mean, they make me nervous. They make me real nervous every time he comes into the game because the fumbling issues early, he doesn't have the blocking stuff down, but they're like, well, we can't give it to Kareem Hunt 30 times a game or give it to him 25 times a game and ask him to pass pro in the other 15. I just think he's at his limit of how much more you can use him at this, which is great. It's fine. Pacheco's coming back in maybe a week.
That's why they've
maybe
approached
2,
it
so
this
the timing
way.
has been very good.
I think that's why they've approached it this way. It's because they know that if Pacheco was out for the season, then yeah, they would have had to, I think, activate Clyde, and it would be more Clyde and Kareem Hunt because they know help is on the way, if you will, with Isaiah Pacheco.
They don't have to do that,
I think they're willing to risk the potential that you wear him down. I think it's a fair point on the text line from someone, 913-586-7965, that, hey, look, Kareem Hunt hasn't played much the last couple of years, so in general, there's not as much mileage on there. I hear you, but there's some truth to that, but also we are watching the games. I mean, his body's getting beat up. I mean, the one pass on, I don't know if it was second down that Mahomes found him in the flat, he got pummeled. And he's taking some brutal hits. And at some point, Andy even joked weeks and weeks back about him needing to be in the ice bath way more than anybody else all week. So I would be more concerned if this was the guy the rest of the year because you know that you're going to have some reinforcement. I think it's fine. And until Pacheco's back, this is what they need to keep doing. The only difference I wonder if they're willing to do at some point, would they actually activate on game day Clyde? We know he's on the roster. He's way past his 21-day practice window and all that.
I'll say today is not the day. This week is not the week.
Clyde
to be
had one very good game up in Buffalo a couple years ago. Remember that was the weird Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday afternoon foggy game, no fans, and they ran all over Buffalo.
This feels like the movie ending where they're like, you got one more carry in for me, coach? Like when the coach was like, you got one more in for me, Alex? And he's like, for you, coach, anything, right? Kareem, before we start dialing your snaps back and we let you rest for a little bit, we're going to need you to touch the ball a lot against the Bills.
Last 2 weeks,
Sorry, man. One more time, though. One more time, and then we'll let you dial it. We'll let you rein it in a little bit. Because this week, honestly, is not the week to find out whether or not he's hit the wall and to give him a break. This win means a ton for the Chiefs.
Again, the hit the wall thing is a little weird to me. We're all watching the same thing. I'm recognizing with you and Nate that he's beat up. I guess I just don't agree with the hit the wall thing. The last 2 weeks he's combined for over 100 yards of scrimmage.
Per game, yeah.
I mean, if anything,
that's 2 weeks in a row. We're all on the same page. He's beat up, but I haven't been he's already done. He doesn't have the production. The guy's had over 100 yards from scrimmage 2 straight weeks.
Well, and let's say they feed him 20 times again, Cody, and he only has 50 yards and he's gassed. You know that he's hit the wall at that point. Maybe him actually playing, it's not even him resting in because he might have hit the wall already. You're going to find out maybe this week if he is hitting one because it might come and it might come this week.
I think you notice it less because, for whatever reason, Kareem Hunt could have signed with any team in the NFL. I think you got the best version of Kareem Hunt because he wants to do anything to prove that he should have been here the whole time. I think he's I think he's hit a wall and you're noticing a production dip from a per touch basis. I understand he's got 100 yards, but in a per touch basis, it's been way worse the last couple of weeks because he'll die on the field for the Chiefs at this point. It's crazy. I think he is more motivated to prove his worth to Kansas City like a kid trying to prove to their parent that they're, I just really think that there's this extra level of motivation for Kareem Hunt. I'm not saying he's a bad running back. but I do think he's hit like a wall of production where until you rein some of this back in, you're not going to see the settle down.
All right, coming up next, we're going to talk a little Royals baseball before we hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. That's because there's a rumor out there about a player that could be traded to the Royals. Does it make sense? How realistic is it? We'll tell you who it is next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR & Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play Roofer Roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com and remember,
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrstormcheck.com.
It is one of my favorite times of the year. The NBA is back, baby, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app, wants you to catch all the action because right now, FanDuel is giving all users, yes, every single user, 3 months free of NBA League Pass. All you need to do to catch every tip-off and every buzzer beater is place a $5 bet on the NBA. You can place this on LeBron having the most assists, Victor Wembanyama to win MVP, or who you think is going to win the NBA Cup. If you're new to FanDuel, all you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code to get 3 months free of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel at any time. No refunds, terms and restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
It's Thirsty Thursday at Hy-Vee. Time to stock up the bar and fill up your tank. Earn 50 cents per gallon fuel savings on every $50 purchase of wine, beer, hard seltzer, and spirits. Mix and match all your favorite libations and get a 50-cent fuel saver with every $50 purchase. Stack up the savings and your next fill-up could be free. Don't miss Thirsty Thursday at your Kansas City, Missouri Hy-Vee. Product promotion differs by location. Offers valid where legal, available while supplies last.
I can't wait to watch the Chiefs go up and down the field and score a ton of points this year. And now I have even more reason to cheer on the Chiefs. I just head to Hy-Vee the day after any game and score savings at the pump with my Hy-Vee Perks card. Win or lose, I earn fuel saver discounts equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount I spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, I save 42 cents a gallon when I spend $42. The more we score, the more I save, only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
All right, gentlemen. This is Emmitt Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play.
Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing kit. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED. And it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
It takes a lot to prepare for game day as a dedicated fan, and preparing the perfect tailgate meal might be most important of all. That's why Hellmann's Real Mayonnaise is the MVP. Hellmann's Mayonnaise is the secret to bring out the rich and creamy taste to all your game day dishes, from buffalo chicken dip to your favorite sub sandwich and everything in between. So give it a try, and mayo game day be delicious with Hellmann's Real Mayonnaise. Shop at your local Walmart, Kroger, or grocery store and add some extra deliciousness to your game day dishes this football season.
This afternoon, showers, thunderstorms, a chance of drizzle, high 57.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We're going to hear from Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes in about 20 minutes or so on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan. Just a brief break from talking Chiefs, and we'll get right back to them, plus the trash of the day. Talk some Royals baseball. More awards coming out yesterday, first of all. Silver Slugger Awards. No surprise, Salvi and Bobby Wood Jr. taking home those honors. We'll find out ultimately who wins Manager of the Year, MVP later, but we know they got the finalists for Cy Young and Seth Lugo, and Q for Manager and Bobby for MVP, and that was expected.
Special season for Bobby Wood Jr., especially at shortstop.
Yeah. No doubt about that. But there's some rumblings out there as we get closer to the winter meetings, which will take place in early December. Yeah, you've got the bigger names out there, Juan Soto doing meetings and things like that. But realistically, where can the Royals improve this roster? We've talked about there's actually only a few spots based off of the roster crunch other than trading away prospects or pieces, whether the prospects or not. But the latest rumbling out there centers around the Philadelphia Phillies. And the reason why that organization is interesting to follow, they've been very successful, but it's an aging roster. That roster's starting to get a little bit older, which was why at first I was surprised to see that the name Alec Boehm came up, because he's only, 27 years old? He's not one of the 32-year-old players, but they want to bring back some prospects and some youth, maybe to their organization. Third base is one area we know the Royals could improve.
Okay, this is a layup. Do it. Trade for him. He's got a full year of control this year in 2025. He doesn't become a free agent until after the 2026 season. So he's not an expensive player for you to acquire in the short term. And if there was a single position on the field, Gold, where I'd say you could improve to the stage of you have a guaranteed thing, it even makes sense for the Phillies. You trade Boehm, you trade them Maikel Garcia, you give them other prospects, and instead of 4 years of Maikel Garcia, you only get 2 of Boehm. But you get a player who was a 3-WAR player last year, hit 280, had a 332 on base. There's your leadoff hitter. There's your leadoff hitter at third base. Does he have the power you typically want at third? No, but you don't get that power anyway now at third base. It is borderline a perfect fit. Look, I understand the odds would tell you that they are also one of the 3 or 4 biggest favorites for Alex Bregman.
10-1 offshore odds.
Sure, but that's one of the 3 or 4 biggest favorites. Same as Santander. So, some of the players right now that I would also be interested in that happen to be outfielders instead of infielders are also available to Kansas City, but at the free agent price tag, it sometimes can go up. Sometimes it's probably going to get $100 million. I don't know what Bregman's going to get, but probably something similar. Bohm has 2 years of control, is 27 years old. If you like what you see, you can continue that storyline within Kansas City. He can be your leadoff hitter. He can be a middle of the order. Whatever you need, he covers those things. And for the low, low price of a couple of prospects, and I understand their system's a little dry, I don't see why you wouldn't make a call on if the Phillies are actually willing to trade him. Doesn't this feel like kind of a perfect fit in Alec Bohm?
Well, it makes a ton of sense. What we don't know, and it's hard to say right now, is one, obviously there's going to be competition for that because of everything. If we're saying
everything we just said, other teams are saying.
Yeah, if it's a perfect fit here, there's, I don't know, 6 other teams, maybe that's too many, but you get the point. 5, 6 other teams that probably are looking at the same way. Like, okay, we can definitely use a third baseman. He's not a free agent until 2027. He's arbitration eligible. We can handle that. He's not gonna break the bank. What's the compensation getting back? Ultimately, the Phillies, of course, I don't know what specifically they're looking for, but do the Royals match up? All the time we can talk about trades, do the two sides match up in terms of what each is looking? The Royals might be looking, and we know they're looking for a leadoff hitter. Third base would be an upgrade. Do they match up? What are the Phillies looking for? Was it prospects?
Do they like Michael Garcia?
Yeah.
Do they like some of the pitching?
Is it prospects they're only wanting back, or do they want a big league ready player as well?
Like the Royals used to do.
Yeah. Are they looking for pitching help? Honestly, I don't know. We're not in Philadelphia, but that would be my question that I would have. What are they looking? Not just flat out the overall cost, but is there a particular position they're wanting back? Do the Royals have what they need? That could be why you make or break the trade.
I think what's interesting about this is if you want the major league ready, I actually think that's a better fit for the Royals if they want players that still help them now, because they can take the downgrade hypothetically at third base, and then the Royals can still offer major league ready pitching. They technically, and I know that this sounds crazy for the Royals, they currently have too many arms for the big league level that they can use regularly. Their system still needs some catching up. This is where they kind of run into a problem. But what we're talking about with there's kind of a log jam at the back end is what I mean. Lynch and Marsh and Kyle Wright and Bubich and there's kind of a log jam at the back end of or Singer. There's a log jam at the back end of the rotation, long reliever, not long reliever. What are they here? Their version of their offense where if they same problem. They have to like one of those players.
Yeah.
I don't know I haven't talked to the Phillies. I don't know if they like any of those players. But if they like some of the pitching or any of the pitchers that are available to them and they like the future that Michael Garcia can offer, and I'm like, look, Michael could just get better here. And they could just roll the dice. He is certainly a young player who has shown me things that make me think he has a chance to be a really good player in major leagues. I'm just telling you, if you want to compete right now, one guy is better now. Bohm is better now.
Are you willing to take, and I haven't looked at the deeper numbers. I don't know if someone's asking about the defensive Alec Bohm. Are you willing to take a little bit of a drop-off defensively? Because we know Mikel's got a great glove at third base. Are you willing to take the drop-off there for the bat? I am. I think they got enough defense everywhere else on the roster, frankly. And we know that's typically, sometimes they have been a defense and speed first based on the ballpark and everything. And it's obviously worked in some cases. In other cases, it hasn't. I think the answer on the surface is yes, I would be willing to take the slight decrease potentially in defense. And it's not like Alec Bohm's bad. You can pull up some of the metrics. I'm sure you're looking at them right now. How much different are they?
87th percentile.
Okay.
He's got a weak arm, but he ranks as a very good third baseman.
I think the offense, though,
outs above average, 87th percentile.
Okay. All right. There you go. Offensively and for a leadoff spot that you desperately need help, very much interested. But as the text line is pointing out, throwing out names, I honestly, it's much different than the NFL. We have a good idea of what compensation it takes to acquire a player in the NFL. I'll be completely honest with you guys. Someone says, Marsh and Mikel, does that get it done? I have no idea. On the surface, I would say no, but I don't know. Is it a Singer and somebody? Is it your top, one of your top 10 prospects plus a big league? I really don't know, man. Do you baseball's tough. Without talking to somebody involved, I really don't know what it takes to acquire a player like Alec Bohm.
That's probably in the ballpark of what
Pun
a
intended?
team would accept. But yeah, it is here's the problem with the metric end of this is that teams don't do what the rest of us do. Most in the NFL and the other things, they trade picks. Those have an assigned value that everyone agrees on in the NFL. They have a value. Everyone agrees they have a value, and they all have a similar value based on that. The problem in baseball is everything you trade is not draft pick related. It is prospect related. And I'll just tell you right now, if the Phillies are looking at the Royals top 20 minor league prospects, that doesn't mean anything to them. A guy being ranked 11, they might like guy 31 more. The Royals might like guy 31 more. It's all based on just like who you like. Now, look, there's a range. They're probably going to be looking for a top 30 guy, top 40. You know, like they're going to be looking for a good prospect. But what level of prospect that guy is kind of a guess. I did look it up, by the way. Maikel Garcia is the 75th percentile of outs above average, so they're in a similar range, but has a significantly better arm strength metric, at least on that end. So, boom, less of a strong arm, but also does fine. Like, you're not getting a significant drop-off at third
We'll
base.
see. I mean, if it's a very competitive market, then, yeah, of course, the price goes up. I mean, all that is stuff we just don't have a good feeling yet, but got excited. I think a lot of people maybe got excited if they saw that. I
kind of want to see him add one more bat, I think. Like, I'm comfortable, and I understand the idea of – I do. I understand the idea of just sticking with these players and going to those players and just being like, you know what? These guys got us there. Let's see if they can get us there again, and let's believe that – development will continue similar to that in the 2014-2015 run. But it feels like you take a lot of the variables of, is this a playoff team out? If just in one of those positions where you're asking development to occur, you just lock in a known commodity. Just one.
Trash of the day.
All right, let's squeeze in a little trash of the day before we get back to the Chiefs and hear from Andy Reid. Patrick Mahomes coming up in about 15 minutes or so. You might have seen this one floating around the last couple of days. We had some other ones we got to first, but it's still relevant. So somebody probably lost their job over this, I would assume.
Most likely.
So you may be aware of Universal's Wicked movie that's coming out.
Yeah, my daughter wants to go see it.
Yeah.
She's been listening to
the soundtrack, probably, right?
for
Yeah.
Wicked, yeah.
So there was thousands of these Mattel, the toy maker Mattel, Wicked branded fashion dolls on shelves at Target and Walmart, etc.
She's seen them and would
they're
like to purchase them.
flying off the shelves. Okay, not because of consumer demand.
Oh,
they're flying off the shelf, Cody, because they're having to take them off the shelf.
Oh,
and the reason
no.
for that is there's a misprint on the package. Pretty big misprint. There's a website listed for the movie. Makes sense. Promote the movie.
Okay.
The problem is the problem is that the Wicked website they gave was not the Wicked movie website, but it was, I guess, a adult website also with the same name.
Oh, no.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm looking at the article now you sent. Wickedmovie.com is the link that should have been in there.
Wicked movie. Go there.
Wicked.com.
Something wicked.
Oh boy. Yes, somebody had to.
Okay, so on a child's toy, they put a link to a pornography website?
They did by accident. They were suggesting these retailers initially just go with a Sharpie and cross off.
No.
And
Every single one?
And the retailers said, nah, we're pulling them from the shelves. They were also being sold at Kohl's, DSW, Barnes & Noble, Macy's. Some sites were still selling them. Some people, for whatever weird reason, were buying them.
Because they want the weirdo freakazoid thing.
Yeah.
You know, you can just go to that website and not buy the doll.
Some people
no
were
one's
buying
stopping
it.
you from.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, probably someone's thinking it's like a collector's item down the road.
I mean, I guess.
For one type misprint?
I don't know. I'm just saying that's what it said. The movie comes out November 22nd, and dozens of these Mattel dolls, if you go on eBay right now, according to the article, it says are listed between $40 and $2,100.
What?
The dolls retailed for between $20 and $40, depending on the character and outfit. Now, you can list anything you want on eBay for any price. I can list this bottle of water for $1 million if I want to. The question is anybody buying them for $2,100 or $70? That we can look on eBay if we want. But anybody, the listing price doesn't really mean anything because truly you can list anything. If Cody wants to list his shirt right now for $500, he can. Doesn't mean anybody's buying it. I don't think.
Just a regular
Maybe
shirt.
For charity they would, but I don't think they're just going to buy it.
I promise I didn't list the couch for negative $100.
Have you gone to the site? See what's on there for you?
No.
You can just check real quick.
On the work Wi-Fi?
Oh, my goodness
Just
gracious.
tell people
I
if
don't
they
know about
accidentally
that.
go to that website.
I'll go to wickedmovie.com right now. Wickedmovie.com.
Cody's asking you to turn the Wi-Fi off on your phone and
I'm on the movie website. We've made it there.
That looks normal.
Yeah,
that looks right.
I'm not gonna delete the movie part. You can do that on your own time, Cody, if you want to explore.
No. I mean, at work, that's a wild time.
You can't be doing that at work.
No.
I mean, I'm assuming people have been busted for going to bad websites at work.
Of course.
And I guess my point is
Of course they have.
look, I just, there's one thing I'm pretty sure. I have never been that horny in my life. That I'm just like firing up adult websites while at work. You're at work. You're at your job.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No.
That's a wild decision. That sucks. Especially because, like, you know, it's like, and I'll be honest. I don't know how many kids are like looking at the box of the thing and be like, I'm going to go to the website for the movie. Pretty unlikely, I'm going to guess.
Someone on the text line just checked the site. Good stuff. The movie site? I'm assuming you're talking about the good
movie
stuff.
site.
Good site on the movie
Wicked
site.
movie.
Yeah, the movie
Did you
site.
learn more about Ariana Grande's performance?
I did not. I honestly didn't know what the cast was.
Ariana Grande's in it. You didn't know that?
No, I did not.
Is she really?
They've been running a lot of trailers for it.
They've had a lot of promos. I didn't realize she was in it.
Yeah. She's like the, I don't know, she's like the lead.
Someone says the state of Kansas might be stopping you, unfortunately. Someone says not even at lunch.
Not even at lunch.
No.
Oh my gosh.
No. Don't think so. Save that for the snitch line next week, please. I guess. Although, actually, you know what? No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
You going to go see the Wicked movie?
I don't know.
That
It's probably
seems pretty
something
low on
my
your
sisters will probably go see.
I want to go see the Gladiator movie.
The new one?
Yeah.
I do as well.
Yeah, with
I'm a little worried, but Denzel might save it because Denzel's Denzel.
Dude,
but I'm
Denzel
a little.
says he's almost done acting.
Yeah,
We got to
yeah,
see Denzel movies
only
before
has
it's too late.
Five more films, I think I saw.
That's what he said, and that's why I'll probably go see it because I'm also worried. Like we all know, the original with Russell Crowe was incredible. Like it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
So you're
Gladiator.
afraid that it's going to be ruined? But, dude, it's got Denzel Washington.
But that's
Come
what I just
back in
said.
a
That's
beat.
what I said. Like Denzel's giving me faith that it's not going to be a terrible remake.
Said Ariana Grande is Glinda the Good Witch, if you're curious.
Okay.
Of her role.
I've heard of Wicked. I mean, my sisters did musical
Yeah, Wizard
theater and
of Oz.
stuff. It's been on Broadway, and but this is the movie version.
I've never been that horny in my life. That music behind it really adds something to it, you know?
Text line's calling
My good
BS.
friend.
Text line's calling BS on that, by the way.
Oh,
That line that
really?
you just said.
Oh, really?
Someone says.
Agree to disagree.
Between you and Dusty today, man. Apparently, I don't know if you guys heard about Dusty's moment.
I did see the text line. I did not hear it. I wasn't awake at 6 a.m. when he was talking about a certain time of the day. But what's funny is I made the same mistake
6
as an
a.m.?
intern. As an intern, I made the same mistake he made today. So I actually, you know what, Dusty? Might surprise you. I can.
There is a cut
can
in there.
relate to that.
Would you?
I don't. What
I
mistake?
don't think we can play the cut intentionally of.
Can
hey,
you
it's
just
what-
explain to me what happened, Drew?
It's one
He
thing
was
if
trying
you
to talk
act.
about, he was trying to talk about clock management. Clock management.
I've been in that boat before. The when I was doing this with our old friend Ryan Wachowski, when I was a part timer and an intern up in St. Joe. This was probably 2012 era, right around that time frame.
That's
And
unfortunate.
I was talking about coming up at 10 o'clock, and I think Dusty made the same mistake.
Yes.
Instead of saying 6 o'clock, you guys can guess what he actually said.
Got it.
That's what I picked up on. I don't think you can play that drop because
it's there, but
it's one thing if you
That makes sense
accidentally
you say
say it. I don't think you can intentionally just have that word playing over and over on the radio.
knowing that he's not in trouble for the FCC for accidentally saying it while on the air. If you and I just play that clip 30 times over the next 30
I mean,
minutes.
trust me, I want to play the drop. Believe me, guys, I want to hear it, but I don't think we can play it.
I'm just gonna have to wait to listen to it in the break.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna go listen. I want to hear it.
So, it seems like a bit risky. I still can't believe it.
It happens, man. It happens sometimes.
I don't
That's
think.
how
I mean,
you-
I've misspoken.
If you're a little lazy with the L, you know,
yeah,
you got.
If you're
Just
talking a
trying to
little bit
talk
fast.
too fast.
Yeah, talking
that's-
too
that's
fast
exactly
is probably
it.
what'll get you.
That's exactly it.
you're just trying to burn through the cinch. You're like, yeah, you know, it's
I mean, all the time. Yeah.
Clock. And you're
Yeah.
like just really emphasize.
Like tomorrow, coming up at 1 o'clock. You know,
I could
Paul
see.
Charchin, 1 o'clock tomorrow.
I could see.
You guys are testing fate a little bit here.
Yeah.
I know. Now you know what's going to happen.
It is
now.
a little bit of a risk, I will admit. The text line is warning us, by the way, that if you don't want to go buy those toys on there, to make sure that you search the sold items.
Oh, you can
on
actually see what the price is. That's the
Yeah.
same thing with cards. Like you can list any trading card, you know, Mahomes rookie card on there for $1 million, but you go and look, okay, that same card sold for $2,500 or whatever. You know, that's how they do comps for the card stores locally that buy them. They'll go on eBay or whatever and comp and see, all right, this one sold a month ago for $600. We're not giving you $5,000 for it. Nice try. You know,
We'll give you $300 for it, and we'll sell it
correct.
for $6. Do
Bingo.
you want it or not?
Exactly.
Makes a lot of sense.
So what about Cody's gum bucket? Yeah. I mean, we've played that plenty of times on the show before.
You know, it's our drop, so we're a little more willing to get fast and loose with it.
Yeah.
My brother once pooped in like a cum bucket?
And a what?
Yeah.
Oh, that moment.
Up next here on Cody and Gold, we're expected to hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. What's the latest with Juju Smith-Schuster?
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
With us is Dr. Christian Hedinger with KCUC, Kansas City Urology Care. What makes KCUC the best?
Hands down, that's our physicians and our experience. We have combined hundreds of years of experience amongst our over 50 providers, radiation oncologists, medical oncologists, and urologists, often practicing under the same roof, who can provide the best integrated care to our patients. We've recruited surgeons from the Mayo Clinic, Harvard, Stanford, UCLA, and many of the other best institutions providing care in kidney, prostate, and bladder cancer. We often can provide our patients care from diagnosis to treatment to labs to scans to medications, all under one roof, all in an office setting as opposed to a hospital. We've assembled all of these physicians that are close to all different parts of Kansas City.
See the experts at Kansas City Urology Care. At KCUC, you see the best in KC. To make an appointment, visit kcuc.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com. And I look forward to working with you.
Kansas City, it's Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings off 152 and North Flintlock Road in KC Mo, Friday, November 15th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champ while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
For over 36 years, Metal by the Foot has been your source for steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless. Located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
I'm a call with Lisa Mitsuber, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lisa Mitsubaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Hi, I'm Kim Myers, owner of Top Notch Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. We'd love to help with your plumbing emergencies, but the best way to ward off those expensive repairs is to schedule a $74 home plumbing inspection. We're still celebrating our 50th anniversary with top-notch deals like cleaning your dusty, moldy ducts for only $4.95. Think your furnace won't make it through the winter? Save thousands on a new Daikin system. Go to topnotchheatingandair.com for details. Thanks, and have a top-notch day.
When you have an expert financial partner invested in you, you can't help but feel like a star. Like the new graduate opening their first investment account, the small business owner proudly adding a new location, or the young couple buying their first home. At Community America, we're invested in helping members achieve financial peace of mind with products and services tailored to each stage of life. Member owned, open to all. Community America Credit Union. invested in you.
Only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500. Discount on eligible product only and reflected in quote. Restrictions apply. See Pro Desk for details. MVP's Pros Rewards program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms subject to change.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pizza just goes better with Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Pizza.
Thank you. But don't take our word for it. In fact, don't take any words for it. Crispy and cheesy, paired with delicious and refreshing. My mouth is watering already. Ooh, too high. Yeah, we've all been there. Every bite is better with Pepsi.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? 'Cause I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Chiefs football. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Cody and Gold hanging out on a Wednesday. We're expected to hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. They are not at the podium yet. As soon as they get there, you'll hear both of them right here on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan. I think the most interesting thing I'm curious to hear about once again still is is Wanye still healthy, good to go? One. And then Juju. If he's closer than Minihue and Pacheco, is he close enough to play on Sunday? We might have to wait till Friday to get that confirmation, but I do want to see what it looks like for Hopkins, Juju, and Worthy and Kelsey to be on the field at the same time. We haven't seen that yet. I think that would be the closest we've seen to a full complement of offense.
Yeah, or as close as you're going to get until the guessing game
back.
of Pacheco, and then maybe in the keep your fingers super crossed Hollywood Brown situation, which could add something maybe a little bit later on. Although with that one, it's hard to imagine having a massive impact knowing that he would not have played a single snap for the team the entire year. Wanye's the big one. I would like, when Andy Reid steps to the podium here in just a few minutes, for him to just be Wanye's going to be a limited participant or he's going to be out there, whatever. Yeah. Just whatever you need to tell me. I just need to know that Wanye Morris is on the practice field in some capacity for this team. And I saw the stats. And this is still hard to believe. He took Kingsley Suamataia, played 46 snaps in the game on Sunday. He allowed 8 pressures of those 46 snaps. Now, I want to remind you, roughly half of those snaps are rushing snaps. So, So let's say 8 out of the 25 or something. Because I bet you they pass more than honestly, in the second half. Feels low. That. And that's a third of the time. So every 3 plays he stepped back, Mahomes was just getting obliterated by his guy. Benito was the guy who got the better of him, I think 90% of the time. But 35%. Again, this is not meant to say that Kingsley has no future in this league. I don't know. This puts a little damper on the possibility of what you think.
It's a huge question for next offseason.
Yeah,
that's an offseason conversation, but it's a huge problem in left tackle to discuss what's the next move. And we'll have plenty of time in February, March, et cetera, to discuss that. Short term, it's obvious. I mean, Wanye Morris has to be the guy, and we had Ross Tucker on the show in the 10 o'clock hour today. He agreed that if Donovan Smith's willing to do it, you should bring him on the practice squad, get him up to speed, and have an insurance policy in case Wanya misses time, because right now you don't have an insurance policy.
And that's what it is. I think if they knew Wanya wasn't going to play this week, they would have already made the move.
I agree
honestly,
with that. I agree.
Maybe I'm just way off here. I feel like they'd have made the move if they just thought Wanya wasn't going to play, because the same, like, if we know this is always the way I look at football a little bit. If we can see it, like if it's so obvious that no one could miss it, they're not blind. Like, they're not blind to this either. Andy Reid has to say the right things. He has to step at the podium and say they can get better.
My guess is they won't do it, but I would love to know, for all those that would say, hey, if you're in a pinch in game, move Tooney to left and you'll worry about Mike Caliendo or whatever at left guard or something. I would love to know, is there any chance during practice this week would Tooney get any left tackle reps? My guess is no, but that would be fascinating though. They would never show that in the media look anyway, so we would never know. But I'd be fascinated to truly know, like, would they even give him any reps at left tackle just in case, just to have a couple reps under his belt if in game. Not Joe Tooney would not play left tackle for multiple games. It's it's the fourth quarter, big drive, Wanya can't come back in, we can't have Kingsley. Would you be willing to move him over? I know fans would. Are the Chiefs willing to? They didn't do that last week because Wanya Morris was good enough to come back.
I mean, I honestly think they would have had to do it.
Let's go out to Arrowhead and hear from Andy Reid.
All right. As far as the injuries go, Charles and Jake will they'll start working today, and we'll just gradually build them up as we go. And that's really it. Everybody else is practicing. So look forward to the challenge of playing the Bills. Real good football team. We know that. We played them several times here over the last few years. So we know they're well coached and a good team. And we've got good players, so we've got to start our work day today and get busy with it. Get preparation. Time's yours.
Could you imagine a scenario where either Isaiah or Charles plays this week?
Unlikely.
As you look at the Bills, they've had obviously rosters change in all the teams. They look significantly different on offense with some of the defections on wide receiver. They're pretty much the same stuff.
No, I mean, they're doing well. They've similar stuff, but quarterback's playing real well, and he likes those receivers that he has. So they're moving around well, and they seem to be on the same page. Good tight ends, So good running back.
Andy, Wanya Morris, how's he doing? And what happened with him in the game? He got hurt, came out for a while, but it looked like he could have gone back in, and then he finally did. But
he got on the stationary bike where he was waiting until he get the thing under control there. So he tweaks it every now and then, and that's what happens. So he comes out, and then he's able to go back in.
Coach, what's your optimism level on a return for wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster?
There's a good chance he's back. We'll see as we go through practice, but if it's up to him, he's back. Yeah.
And Josh Allen's been more efficient this year, less turnovers. How has he been able to do that based on what you've seen on tape?
He's doing a great job with the ball. He's using everybody, and he's not forcing anything in there, obviously. So I think he's doing great with his decision making.
Andy, every position has a rookie learning curve, but with left tackle, what is the difficulty of coming right into the NFL and being prepared?
Yeah, well, you've got good players on the other side that play against that left tackle, and when you're young, there's going to be a couple of hiccups in there. You just got to bear with it as they grow. Before Wanya got hurt, he was doing a nice job out there, but that thing, you had the bone bruise before, and then he tweaks it every once in a while. So it takes a minute to calm down, then he comes back in. But every week he's gotten a little bit better that he's been starting. So that's a positive going forward here.
Andy, with Wanya, you mentioned the bone bruise. Is that like a long-term issue that you might have more concern about going forward, or is it something?
He's not doing anything to hurt it worse. That's not what's going on. But these things are like a little bit like the high ankle sprain that way, where you bring them back and they tweak it, and they sit for a little bit, calms down, come back out, and they go. So different injury, but I mean it's with what he had.
Andy, I know you've spoken to this a bit, but what do you think has enabled DeAndre to have such an impact so fast? And obviously it's talent and intelligence, but what is it that's made it all come together that way?
Yeah, well, he's always been a great player, and this offense gives him opportunities. His style of player, and the quarterback trusts him. So, and then what he is what you saw on Sunday with the one catch on the crossing route, where dirty tough, lands on the football, is able to get up, shows no sign of weakness on that, and wants to get back in and go. And that's been him. Tough catch, contested ball, lands on it hard, and gets back in and plays and wants more.
And from the outside looking in, anyway, I think it seems like gives you a little different dimension than some guys have in the past. Do you agree with that? Does that seem like that range of things he can do?
Well, he's great with the contested balls. That's what he's great with. So if you get it in, and he's got long arms, big hands, and if you get it in that radius, you're pretty sure he's going to get that son again. So, we've had good receivers here, and we have good receivers here. So, but that's his strength right there.
Andy, when it comes to Kareem Hunt, obviously a lot of carries. I think the last 3 games he had 70 carries. How is his conditioning going on so far, and going into this game with Buffalo where you might have to lean on him even more? How are you trying to compliment him and measure his carries out?
Yeah, so we threw him the ball a little bit more this past week. They were doing a good job inside, just kind of shutting off the run game part of it. And so we ended up getting him the ball. We like to get him the ball whatever way we can get him the ball because he's a good player. He's doing well for just coming off the couch. He's like second in the league for the number of games he's played on carries and yards. So, he's doing a heck of a job. And he wants more. So he's not asking to come out now. That's not quite how he's wired, but he's doing well. He fell on his leg there. One of the guys fell on his leg and kind of tweaked it a little bit, but he's fine.
Coach Xavier started out the season pretty fast, made a little bit of an impact. He's kind of tapered off a little bit. Are you sensing any frustration from him? What are you seeing?
I haven't. He's a competitive kid, and these things work like that. He's got a lot of guys around him that have played, and he's learning as he goes. But he's so smart. And he's got talent, and teams are playing all that shell coverage on the back end. So some of his deep stuff, they try to take it away there. But that's not the only thing he can do. So it's just a matter of getting him. There's going to be a game here somewhere where he gets a lot of catches, and we all kind of go, all right, that's how those things work.
We'll go across the room. Go ahead, man. Coach Leo wins as AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Not a big surprise. We've talked about him developing as a defensive player, but he's been a key special teams player for a while. How important is he?
Yeah, Toad banks on him to be a core guy for him. Spags banks on him to be a guy for him that he can move around and do different things, from spying a quarterback to being a very good pass rusher to being able to set an edge in the run game. So he's a valuable guy. He doesn't say much, but does a lot. So we all depend on him.
Dave?
Sean McDermott talked this morning about how he likes seeing you on TV with your commercials because that's the personality he got to know over 12 years with you. What was Sean like working with him, his personality? Did we see what he's like when he's at a podium or on the sideline, or are you something else?
Yeah, I haven't watched his press conference, but he's got a great personality. A fellow redhead, man. He's a heck of a football coach, and he came from a father that was a football coach, and so he grew up around it. Was a good football player himself, and just top notch. I have a lot of respect for him, what he's done.
Sam?
Andy, you mentioned Xavier Worthy, but what did you see on the way he was able to create separation on that deep pass? Was there anything more than missing just in his throw?
Yeah, no, that was it. He did a great job on that one, of getting behind the guy, and that's a good corner too. So he gave him a little hezzy move and took it from there. So did a nice job with it. And somewhere we'll get all that worked out. It'll happen. We just gotta keep rolling.
Okay, thanks,
All right, good.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan here on KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 in Kansas City.
Yeah, that injury report we heard from Andy is brought to you by QC Kinetics. Pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away? Well, you can check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. Go to QCkinetics.com to make your free appointment. And that update, of course, included that Isaiah Pacheco and Charles Omenihu will begin the ramping up process today. That's a great sign. Also, in terms of them playing Sunday, as expected, he says it's both of them unlikely to play against Buffalo. Did say, though, Juju Smith-Schuster, has a, quote, good chance to play Sunday. Said if it was up to Juju, he'd be playing on Sunday, but they got to see how he goes. So that's the latest on the injury front for the Chiefs. The picture's getting better, the best it's looked.
I like that Wanye's practicing.
Knock on wood. Over the last, really, since the beginning of the season. I mean, honestly, since week 1, it's the best it's looked in terms of everybody heading in the right direction.
Agreed. But he said something about Wanye there that only reinforces the thought that you and I had at least about left tackle. He said essentially what the injury he has is like a high ankle sprain, which means sometimes in the middle of the game you aggravate it. You need a quarter off while that calms down, and then you can come back in and finish the rest of the game. I'll be honest. I don't like that.
Sounds like Donovan Smith should be on this team, backing him up. All right, we're going to talk more about that, but let's go back out there, hear from quarterback Patrick Mahomes.
I know it's been over a month since this happened, this burglary, but your first reaction when you realize you're part of this sort of targeted situation that happened?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's frustrating, it's disappointing. But I mean, I can't get into too many of the details because the investigation's still ongoing. But obviously, something that you don't want to happen to really anybody, but obviously yourself.
Can you say, if we know this happened midnight on a Sunday morning before that Monday Night Football game, were you or your family, were you guys home?
Yeah, I can't speak too much about the details of everything, just with the investigation going on. But I'm sure at some point that will be talked about.
Patrick, when with your resume, I know there's things that you won't accept in a win that you win in a loss. Your play this season, I know it's probably not up to your standards. How do you rectify that week in and week out when you say that you got to improve and you got to get better? Yeah,
I think I learned a lot about myself last year. Just when I did feel like I wasn't playing my best football, and we were kind of struggling throughout the season, and I kind of learned how to just find ways to win, and so. It kind of helped me grow up, not only as a player, but as a person, to show that it's not about stats. It's not about how you get it done. It's just about getting it done. And so I know how tough it was last year when we were losing those football games. And if we're finding ways to win this year and I'm not putting up the stats, I feel a lot happier when I go home.
Following up on that, Patrick, I've got to ask because, it's obvious when we're looking at it from the press box, but your tackle, the tackle situation, last few weeks, they've been getting that work put in on them, and you've taken probably some unnecessary hits. What do you say? What are you saying to them coming out of the huddle, coming off, when you're getting up off the field, and blocks are being missed left and right, and you're taking some unnecessary hits?
Yeah, no, I believe in those guys. I believe in all the guys that are on that field with me. I believe in my teammates, and because more than even on the field, I see the work they put in every single day, and how hard they work to go out there and execute at a high level. And there's times where I need to get rid of the football. I take some unnecessary hits as well. And it's about coming together as a team and being that unit that's in sync every single snap. And I think if we do that, we'll go out there and execute at the level that we want to.
Patrick, when it comes to this game and this what's now really a rivalry, 8 times in the last 5 years you guys played, in this millennium, the only people that have done that is Brady and Manning, and now it's you and Allen. Just what is it about this game that just brings out the best of both you guys, and how much respect you have for the other side of the field, especially the way Josh Allen's playing?
Yeah, I mean, you're playing the best. I mean, the best of the best. That's what you want in this league. And I've been able to go up against Josh a multitude of times, and every single game it seems like it comes down to the very end. And he's a guy that competes, and he has that fire. I think you can see that fire that he plays with, and that kind of goes through his entire team. And a lot of guys have had a lot of success, and so we know it's going to take our best football. I think that's what we know, and if we don't, we're going to lose, and we've lost some. And we've won some, so I'm just hoping that this week we can get out there, play our best football, and find a way to get a win.
And you've played so many games so far with that friendship you guys have had. You guys have played golf together. It's been all documented on that. But now, as the games have progressed, is the kind of conversations that's still there? Is it kind of spaced away since the games have been so crucial?
No, we still stay in touch. I mean, especially in the off seasons, just kind of with both of our love for golf and just being around the people. And I know Shane Buechele and he was here and now he's there, and so he's a really good dude. I think that's why his team plays so hard for him. But I mean, obviously we're both competitors, so in the season, not as much talking as we're both going for that ultimate goal, the Super Bowl. But at the same time, there's a ton of respect both ways.
Scott, in the offseason, talking about Hollywood, you almost said, I was surprised we were able to get this guy in the room. Now a few weeks with DeAndre, is there a similar feeling that, like, you're surprised that this guy was available for you guys?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because, I watched some Tennessee's tape, but at the same time, not having him here, you didn't know what to expect as far as the player on and off the field, and he gets in the room, and he's a leader from day one. He's teaching younger guys. He's helping younger guys in the room about stuff that he's learned. And then you get on the practice field and you see how explosive he still is and how he can still make these plays. He can go one-on-one with the best of the best and win. And it was definitely a pleasant surprise for me just seeing him on that football field. And I think I can even give him more and more chances as it goes on because he seems like he's making plays every time I do.
Patrick, you were pretty close to having a pretty big offensive day on Sunday. You talked about those couple misses you had after the game. Just wonder how long do you focus on that? Does it get extra focus as you watch film? What's kind of your process as you go through those aspects?
Yeah, I mean, I just got to go back to the fundamentals and trying to make those throws. I mean, you can only do so much as far as when you miss stuff, but you go back and learn from it as best as you can. You get back to your fundamentals, and there was a couple these last few weeks I've missed Xavier on some of those deep shots, and I feel like if I hit those shots, the offense looks completely different. Not only for those numbers and those stats, but it opens up everything else for everybody else. And so, just trying to get back to that. He's getting open every single game, hitting those throws whenever I can, and it'll take pressure off the rest of the offense as well.
What did you see just for his ability to what stood out about him getting open on that play?
Yeah, I think you can see how much he learned from week to week. I mean, the week before he got open and kind of faded a little bit, caught the ball, and ended up being out of bounds. Whereas you saw on that double move, he kind of stacked the guy, we say, got back on the red line, gave me room to throw, and then I threw the ball out of bounds. And so you see those steady progressions each and every week. And I think in the long run, it's going to really pay off because he is getting open. And I have the confidence I'll be able to hit him on some of those shots down the field. And like I said, it's going to open up the rest of the offense as well.
Patrick, you mentioned a minute ago, like you learned how to just embrace how to win the game, stats aside. Like, how would you describe what that looks like and feels like in game?
Yeah, I think you get a feel for how the defense is playing. You get a feel for how the whole game's going, the flow of the offense. And then you try to make the best decision on when to not and when to take chances. In certain games, you got to take some of those chances. You got to go out there and score some points. And I feel like I've done that at certain points this year. And then in certain games, the defense is kind of shutting the door. They're winning the game kind of for us. And I just have to execute in those big moments. And I think last week, if I executed on that throw to Travis or Xavier in that last drive, that would have been kind of reading the game the right way and getting us enough room for the win. And luckily for us, Leo makes a great play whenever I don't execute in that moment. But I've learned from playing a lot of games to kind of winter those big moments and when you need to go out there and make plays.
We'll go last to Nate, Vahe, and then Todd. Go ahead, Nate.
Patrick, similar to you is someone like Chris on the defense. You know, his stats may not reflect the sort of play that he's having, but what have you sort of appreciated or noticed from what he's done this season, kind of in a similar vein from a leadership standpoint on the defensive side?
Yeah, first off, like you said, leadership. I mean, he comes to work every single day. He gets after it. He's practicing hard. He's showing that. I mean, he's another guy who's going to have a gold jacket, and he's showing that he can get in there and get reps in practice, and he can get after it. And I think more than anything is he understands the scheme that the offense is doing. So sometimes he's taking up 2 blockers. He's taking up 3 blockers so that a blitzer can get free. And a lot of times you might try to do too much in that situation, but he knows that when his time comes, when they do give him that single one-on-one block, he's going to win. And those are usually the biggest moments of the game. And I think they do a great job as a full defense of executing and running the entire scheme. And it's not about one guy, but it does help when you have that guy in the middle.
Bye.
Patrick, it seems that DeAndre has a bit of a distinct skill set. I wonder how that affects your reliability with him, your connectivity with him. Does that give you kind of a mindset of chemistry with him?
Yeah, I mean, I think just the ability to win one-on-one is special. I mean, that truly is special, and sometimes it gets lost. Because whenever you got a guy in the boundary that's one-on-one with, like this week he was with Surtain, and Surtain's one of the best corners in the league, and he was winning some of those matchups, and he's really kind of showcasing that he can win one-on-one versus anybody, and that stuff that takes pressure, it puts pressure on the defense whenever I'm hitting those guys over there in those one-on-one matchups and making them push guys over, which is opening up everybody else. And so that, as well as being able to make tough and contested catches, like the deep cross he had over the middle of the field. That stuff that just in my mind shows me I need to give him more and more chances in those situations.
Is there any part of his game that you didn't realize he'd have? I mean, is there something that has surprised you?
I think just the kind of the wiggle that he has, not only catching the ball and able to make stuff miss and get up the field, but as well as running the routes. I mean, whenever you get around a guy like that, you don't see those things often. So to be able to see that at such a high level, I think it showcases to everybody what type of player he is.
Last two, Todd and Steve. Go ahead, Todd.
A lot of folks are talking about the matchup between you and Josh Allen. You're playing the Buffalo defense. What do they look like this year? What sort of strengths do they have that cause you guys the most problems?
Yeah, I think it's what they do every year. I mean, they do a great job of being really, really good at their scheme with great players. They rush the passer well, and it's not just one guy. It's a multitude of guys that play extremely hard and get after the passer, and then they turn the ball over. And that's the staple of great defenses is being able to rush the passer, stop the run, and turn the ball over, and they do all those things really, really well. And so it's going to take our best football, like I said. And I know it sounds cliche, but in order to win this game, you're going to have to play your best football. And I think that we're going to have to go out there and do that, and it's going to be a tough environment to do it in. Steve?
Patrick, last week you got posted a photo of Tom Brady and Randy Moss. Wanted to see if you saw that, see if you think that there's any similarities there.
Yeah, I mean it was definitely a cool photo because you know what they did together. And D-Hop is a receiver that's on that level where he's going to be a Hall of Famer, and I'm trying to get to as close as I can to Tom as possible. But I mean, other than the stats and all that different type of stuff, I want to get that Super Bowl ring, and so if we can go get that one, I'll be good to post a picture of our own.
There you go. Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, that photo was out about a week ago. I'm sure some of you that spend some time on social media probably saw that. That was tweeted out by DeAndre Hopkins himself. And yeah, we do know what they accomplished together. And while they're, who knows how many years Mahomes and Hop are going to play together. Hopefully, we had a topic last week. We were talking about, hey, depending on how this thing goes, there's a chance maybe he's back next year and all that. But ultimately, how that relationship between the two is going to be judged is, do they get to a Super Bowl? Do they win a Super Bowl? But he did say multiple times throughout that sequence, Cody, that he feels like he actually needs to give D-Hop more chances based off of, like, clearly winning one-on-ones, clearly can make a contested. He trusts somebody. He's like, I got to give him some more opportunities.
That's also just not something we talked about this with DeAndre Hopkins and some other wide receivers in that style, which is that's not a throw like that back shoulder sideline throw, whatever. That's not been the throw that he has made very often in his career. Maybe just because of the style of wide receiver he's had. Well, he has one. DeAndre Hopkins is an all-timer at that level of ability or doing that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I think there's always kind of an opportunity to do it. I'm excited because, like, Hopkins is, like, he's firmly in the, what level can we take this to? Because I saw 80 yards and 2 touchdowns a couple weeks. Like, what is, the maximum level of your pairing you can get to by the end of the season? And especially in a matchup where every point's going to matter against Buffalo, well, Hopkins becomes more important because they don't have much wiggle room in a matchup in a team that is clearly, I think, the second best team in the AFC.
And in this rivalry, as I think was Harold asked the question and mentioned just like how often they have played. I mean, when you've played 8 times, sure, and that's up there in NFL history for this many matchups in a decade or a 5-year period, I even think. But the Bills haven't seen Mahomes with DeAndre Hopkins. They've seen him with Tyreek Hill. They've obviously saw him with Rashee Rice last year. They haven't seen him with an offense that has D-Hop maybe with a healthy Juju. We'll see if he plays with the Xavier Worthy, with the Kelsey. Like, there's some excitement for me to see that. Like, it is every year there's still new wrinkles. We know Andy adds, but now this is a different player. We haven't seen the Bills. How will the Bills, they've gone up against DeAndre Hopkins before when he's with Tennessee, but like, how will they handle him? This is the first time they'll have a player like that with Kelsey.
They know what they at least, we've talked about this. They've played 8 times. 8 times in the last 5 years when they finished playing their game on Sunday. That's a crazy amount for 2 teams who aren't in the same division.
Thanks for hanging out with us during your lunch hour. And Jefferson's is the official lunch partner of 96.5 The Fan. You can catch every game at Jefferson's, whether it's the block field goal to an incredible catch. Witness every moment at a restaurant that's proudly local. Visit Jefferson's in Lenexa or in North KC. Jefferson's, wings, burgers, oysters.
Those 2 locations are owned by a current 96.5 part-time employee.
We, of course, done some of our Cody Gold Guillotine League drafts up there. We've did our Royals watch parties there. So
they brought us some cups so that we had and I forgot my water cup today, which I appreciate. Get some wings next week. What do you think?
Well, next week we're definitely getting wings in this studio. We're gonna have to like balance eating, and you're gonna have to like take a break for a second so you can eat a wing. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out, man.
Well, because what happened is like, especially think about the timing. Our Instagram video is would you rather drums or flats?
Perfect.
I was a little surprised to find out you were a flats guy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, I agree with Rob that what Rob said in the video too. Overall, like wings, like you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I'll eat either.
You really can't go wrong. But if you're giving me the choice at Jefferson's, if they said, hey, you could just order all flats or all drums, I would choose the all flats if they gave me that option.
Are you paying the extra $1 or whatever?
I
at
would.
Some places?
I would. I know not to like we're talking about drums or flats. I still also at Jefferson's a lot of the time I end up just going boneless. I'll be honest. I just when we were doing the watch parties because we're shaking people's hands and I didn't want to have a mess. I decided to go boneless.
Very considerate.
Little honey barbecue boneless at Jefferson. So we appreciate them. They're our official lunch partner here on 96.5 The Fan. There was another part of that press conference at the very beginning on a more serious end, and I think it was pretty surprising for everybody to see yesterday. I'm surprised it took a month to be out there. I'm guessing Mahomes and Kelsey really didn't want it to become public knowledge. Initially, TMZ had the report, and since then it's been confirmed by every local outlet. And that was that both Kelsey and Mahomes had their homes burglarized. And it sounds like on the timeline, even though Mahomes couldn't really answer too much detail on it, it was the night when the Royals were playing the Yankees in the divisional round and the night the Chiefs were hosting the Saints.
Yeah, so they just waited for these athletes. And look, they claim in the article that maybe it was just part of a string of other robberies.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like an accident that they're like, everyone's busy tonight. Chiefs are hosting the Saints. Royals are playing this. Someone's going to be at a ball. Everyone's going to be busy. So I'm going to go rob them then.
Yeah, without getting into
That
look, I'm not going to get into details where they live, but a lot of you know where they live. I am stunned that someone can't just walk up to. I'm not going to name the neighborhood. We all kind of know, but like, it's not you can just walk up.
You're gonna dox.
No, that's what I'm not going to do. The complete opposite. I mean, all the articles have basically said where they live.
Yes.
But the point being is like I'm surprised those neighborhoods you could just walk right up. It makes you wonder if somebody had access or something. It's we're all speculating now, but like obviously terrible. Hate to see anybody's home get burglarized. But it's got to be scary for anybody when you have you're talking about wife and kids and stuff
Well,
like
I mean,
that too.
according to the Travis Kelsey one, they stole $20,000 in cash.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yep. They said
Chiefsaholics behind bars. What's going on?
Taylor was in town that day, so like that could have added a whole nother security thing. They fortunately stayed at a hotel that night.
There you go.
Like that one. So like there's this whole this stuff. It's like, first off, Kansas City, these are true sons. What are you doing? I understand that like some of the things that lead to people into a life of general crime or into a life of burglary. You robbing Mahomes and Kelsey?
Like, my thing is that you can't just walk. You can't just walk up there. So that's what makes you wonder. Like somebody had access to the community or whatever.
Like you have to be. Yeah, you have to live in the neighborhood. Pretty much.
It's a gated community. I mean, like I'm not saying that prevents any crime from ever happening just because you have a gate. But like
idiot teenagers. Making
again.
a bad decision to break in someone's house alone. Taking $20,000, that's going to land your ass in prison for a long time. You think Travis Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes don't have?
I don't think it was teenagers.
You think they don't have cameras on their house? The Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey, they got camera. I think they got cameras.
I'm just saying. You think about nowadays whether you're in a gated community or not. How many people have access to enter said gate of the community? Think about I'm not picking on any one person, but think about all the different services and deliveries, et cetera, that are all out there. Like it's not foolproof system, but I was stunned to see that. Fortunately, nobody was hurt or anything like that. That's the most important thing there. But that was obviously, if you're wondering why the questions were there at the beginning of the press conference with Mahomes, that was in reference to probably what most of you have seen, which was the news yesterday. TMZ, of course, was the first to get. I mean, it's unbelievable. TMZ, just no matter where in the world, they somehow have access to anything. It's incredible.
Yeah, sometimes to, I'll be honest, a grotesque level. Like I'm assuming you saw what happened a few weeks ago when they sent out a video of a person's dead body. Because they're like, exclusive photos, a dead guy. And you're like, maybe don't. How about just a little editorial control there, TMZ, where you think, you know what? Maybe not. They're like, and then their initial response before taking it down was, it's just like his arms, so you probably not a huge deal. I'm not even kidding. That was their actual response to the kid from One Direction, Liam. And it was just like, are you nuts? You can't send stuff like that out. But yeah, they seem to know about the burglary before the rest of us.
Yeah.
It must have been a police officer, right? I mean, the fact that it was kept quiet for a full month.
Oh, I'm not going to accuse anybody.
Come on,
this,
man.
Cody. Come on now.
Who the hell found out? A month?
Who
I don't know.
knows,
You're
man?
right. But
Who
either
knows?
way,
I'm
it's
not
like
gonna
be
accuse.
inside man.
Who knows, man? I don't know.
By the way, teams, you don't need to know everything. Just chill a little. You cannot know everything.
My guess is the reason why I'm stunned that the dollar amount was out there, because my guess, if you're Mahomes and Kelsey, you don't want it to ever become public what was or wasn't taken.
Yeah.
So I'm
I agree.
actually surprised that the dollar amount is even out there.
It's in the
TMZ
report.
Yeah, and there's obviously a police report or whatever.
Someone says maybe T and Z broke in and then reported it. That's how they got there first.
Jeez.
They just said
Oh my
reporter.
goodness. Jeez.
That's a deep state conspiracy. That is way down the list. Let's talk a little bit about the Chiefs, since Andy and Pat just talked about it, and we know how big this game is on Sunday. We had said yesterday, and I think it very much true. And Ross Tucker said it. This is the single biggest regular season game so far in the NFL this season. There are 3 different matchups. Steelers-Ravens is this weekend. On Thursday Night Football, you're getting Philadelphia and the Commanders, 2 teams with 7 wins. There are some massive division matchups this week in the NFL. This is the single biggest game on the slate. This might end up being the single biggest regular season game of the entire year. It had me wondering the same question because, like, before the season, we always give our predictions. But now the Chiefs are 9-0. If they win on Sunday, they're 10-0. What do you think, not knowing what Sunday will bring?
Yeah.
What do you think the Chiefs' record finishes at is what we were talking about early. And I'm having if they win 15-2, if they lose, I still think they're going 14-3. I'm having a hard time imagining a team that is this good, led by Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, is going to play sub 500 football the rest of the season. That borderline seems impossible.
So 14-3 preseason was where I thought they were at, and that was including losses to Atlanta, Buffalo, and then Pittsburgh later on in the year. Well, they didn't lose to Atlanta. They're playing Buffalo this week. They have a chance to get to 10-0. How am I not bumping the number to 15-2? Like, how am I not doing that? Even if they lose to Buffalo, how am I not? I mean, based on my trajectory, the tricky thing will be that stretch of games, Houston, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, later on in the year, and where's their health at? But this is a team that's actually getting healthier. Not that they won't have a new injury the rest of the way, but like they're getting healthier right now. So I feel better actually about that situation, that they made it through what I hope will be the most injury-riddled stretch of their season, and they're 9-0. And yeah, if you think they're winning on Sunday against Buffalo, then I don't know how your answer isn't at least 15-2 now.
That 3-game stretch, it is kind of important to know, because like Cleveland, if it was squeezed in the middle, I think that becomes a more challenging game. Jameis just goes off or whatever. They're not a very good defense anymore. They're 21st ranked in points per game in the NFL. The Cleveland one is on a normal week, right? There's no short week to it. They play Cleveland after a normal amount of time off. It really, like the 3 games in 11 days sometimes gets blown out in the sense that the first one actually doesn't mean anything, right? It only means something as it relates to the 2 following games after that. When they head into Cleveland, they'll be on full rest under a normal circumstance. That's a dub. So really the 2 games are at Houston, at Pittsburgh, or no, at home against Houston, and at Pittsburgh, where they run into these games where it's like, wow, those are close. You only get like 4 days rest right after Cleveland, and then another 6 days rest, right, for the Pittsburgh game. Those games are tight. But let's just say they lose both and lose to Denver the final week of the season because they're locked in. If they beat Buffalo, this is at bare. I think the worst they would finish is 14 games if they beat Buffalo. But the truth is, I do not think. I think their bottom. Do you even think they could go 13-4? Like if I made you $1,000 even money either side, they either win 13 or less games or win 14 or more, and you don't know Sunday's result.
Yeah.
You're betting 14, right?
Absolutely, I am. Absolutely, I am. I mean, look where this team is at, and also their schedule. Like, I know Carolina's on the next week. I know they get the Raiders again. I know they do have Cleveland. Like, that's 3. So let's like if they're getting to 10, there's 13-0. It won't be 13. There's a tougher game, but you know what I'm saying. Like they're 13. I know they're at least getting to 13 wins before they would even play Pittsburgh, in my opinion. Before they would play Houston, before they would have some of those games. Even if you're not taking the exact order, just thinking the math of how many wins. Like I don't know how the math checks out for them to have fewer than 14 wins if they win on Sunday. Like
I mean they'd have to lose a lot of games that you'd be like, but just how? I'm having a hard time imagining them losing to 3, even if it includes this one. There are 8 games remaining. They lose this one. Okay, so they got 7 games remaining, and they can only take on 2 more losses to get to the 13 end. So I think they go 4-2. That doesn't seem, or 5-2. I mean, maybe, right? Maybe you're like, well, they're not playing good football now, so 5-2. That's a winning. That's a strong winning contingent. But like, it's just still hard to imagine.
Some of the odds over at FanDuel, you can check out in relation to this conversation. I'll talk more about this tonight on that betting show, by the way. Back live 6 to 7 here on 96.5 The Fan. Then I'll hand things off to Drew and Mac as they have after hours tonight. So on FanDuel, when is the first loss going to come odds? Those exist, of course. So this week you would just bet the money line. So you would just, but they don't even offer because you would just be betting the game, right? Like you just bet the game. After this, at Carolina, 13-1, Raiders week 15-1, week 14 against the Chargers is actually the favorite to be the first loss. Like if we're other than this Sunday. Okay.
Because they're like, if they get through this Sunday, they're like, we're not giving you any odds that it's Panthers or Raiders.
First loss to come at Cleveland, week 15 is 11-1 versus Houston. Week 16 is 12-1. And then if they get to the last week of the season against the Broncos, it's 23-1. So, but to go perfect, 8-1, to go 17-0 right now, the odds are 8-1. When we were out at Circa in Vegas 3 weeks ago now, I guess, they were offering it at 23-1 then. That was before the Raiders game. So 8-1, is that good enough value for you to put down?
I'd rather just roll my money into the money line win every
goes
week.
Back to the Coach of the Year conversation yesterday. Andy's 6-1, 6.5-1 to win Coach of the Year. I think you're better off not even leaving it up to voters. The only way he might win it is undefeated anyway. You might as well. I mean, if you're doing it. If you're debating those. But I thought that was interesting for where the odds market is. And, of course, the Chiefs are the favorites to have the best record in all of football. Minus 180 right now. The Lions are plus 290. Those are the only two teams you can really bet on for best regular season record now.
I don't like any of those odds. How am I only getting 8-1 for an undefeated season? They have
It's not good. It's not good enough value to bet.
They have 8 more games left to play.
Yeah,
I'm just not kidding. Like, I guarantee you it would be more profitable to take the Chiefs on the money line. Like, let's say you're going to pay $100 to win $800 for the Chiefs to go undefeated. I guarantee you'd be more profitable if I took $100 on the Chiefs to win against the Bills this week on the money line, and then I just took money line the final 7 games. Like, and then at the very least, I could eject on that plan. Does that make sense? I could get 4 weeks into it and be like, you know what, I'm getting out.
I hear you. The only problem with that potentially is that, like, next week it's Carolina, they're minus 820 on the money line. So I mean, that's the only problem with that.
You're going to be at the same amount after the second week, sure.
Yeah. Up next, though, let's talk a little bit more about these two quarterbacks and what we're going to see between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Plus, we've got another random question of the day.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
We were just talking about some of the bets that are out there. Well, the NFL continues on, and well, there's no better place to get in on the action than on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Of course, you could build out a quick same-game parlay for the huge matchup, Chiefs at Buffalo. An anytime touchdown for Kareem Hunt, over on the rushing yards for James Cook, and over on the passing yards for Patrick Mahomes. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex. That's promo code Alex to make every moment more this season. FanDuel's an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Hey investors, this is JD again with Crossroads Investment Lending. Still wanting to get into that fix and flip game? Don't have the money? Maybe you've always wanted to get yourself a rental property. We can help you get in the door. Call the fix and flip guys at Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900, or go to kclend.com. That's KCLEND.com. Get started in the fix and flip game. What are you waiting for? That's Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900 or kclend.com.
Get a brand new home without moving with Thermo King windows? What is this sorcery? Is there a catch?
Of course there is. You already know that Thermo King sells energy-efficient triple glass replacement windows that can save you money on your energy bills. But did you know they also install James Hardy siding and beautiful entry doors as well? So you can make the tired old exterior of your home look brand new with replacement windows, siding, and a new entryway door from Thermo King. Your home will look so good, it could attract tens of thousands of followers on its own Instagram and TikTok pages. Plus, Thermo King offers significant savings when you replace any two of these items. Replace all three? Look out! Thermo King will practically be paying you by the time it's done. So why move? Get a brand new looking home with Thermo King. Call 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
Thermo King Windows.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? 'Cause I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Lowe's honors our military community this Veterans Day and every day. To say thank you, verified military members, veterans, and their spouses get 10% off everyday purchases, plus free silver key status with My Lowe's Rewards. It's our way of showing our gratitude to the brave people who have and continue to serve our country. Learn more now at lowes.com/military. 10% discount can't be combined with another offer. Exclusions, terms, and conditions apply. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
I don't feel so good.
You do feel hot. Dayquil Kids will take care of that fever.
What about my cough?
Dayquil Kids has that covered.
Will it make my throat feel better?
Yes, that too.
But will it taste good?
Yep, Dayquil Kids comes in your favorite flavor.
Purple?
Well, yes, it's great.
Try new Dayquil Kids Plus Fever, the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6+. Use as directed.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? 'Cause I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Shop Dell Technologies Black Friday event for their lowest prices of the year. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. Black Friday is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get to the random question of the day. We were talking to CDOT during the break about the very conversation we just had about the records. And
he's
everything.
got him at 14 wins.
Yeah, and the more and more we were talking about it during the break, the one record that I don't think is possible, like on the north side of 14, is actually 16-1. You're like, what do you mean? I think if you think, like, it's got to be 17-0, 15-2, or 14-3.
16-1.
16-1
doesn't sit right, huh?
Well, it doesn't, because how do they get the one? Because
they lose to the Steelers and then Carson Wentz wins?
Because here's the thing. For 16-1 to have happened, to me, that means they're undefeated going to the Broncos game, and they play the starters, and they lose to Denver week 18. I don't think that's likely, but that's the one. The other scenario would be what you said, which is that they already would have lost, and they, of course, would then have the 1 seed locked up heading into 18, and so they benched the starters, but Carson Wentz still beats the Broncos, who might be playing for a playoff spot. I don't like that scenario, relying on a backup to get me to 16-1, so I actually think it's, if you think 16-1, you got to pick 17-0 or 15-2. That's just...
If I'm doing that, I might as well pick 17-0.
That's way more entertaining, yeah.
Picking, no one picks unders. Like, overs are more fun. I'm rooting for, because, like, you know how this is. You're like, I'm picking under 14.5 yards from McCole Hardman. I'm gonna spend 60 minutes.
Sweat.
I'm gonna spend 60 minutes watching football, hoping the ball never finds McCole Hardman. I can't live like this.
Some people like that because some people like that because, like, well, my bet is winning all game. Like, you're not down, like, you're winning all game. But also that's,
you can also lose it in the first 5 minutes too.
They call it gambling for a reason.
I mean, I get it, but, like, I just, like, ugh.
Yeah.
I like, because, like, my bet is not, like, I guess this is the way people look at it. In my mind, let's say I bet the over, and I don't even know if it's 14.5 for McCall, but let's just say it's 11.5, whatever, is that the whole game is, no, my bet has not won, but it could on this play. Like, this play, like, any moment, Gold, here comes the money.
That number is 11.5. We're just we don't even know that we're just making up a number, but, like, yeah, that number is that low for a reason as well. Like, I mean,
I am aware.
Like,
I am aware that, like, but if there's a player on the Chiefs team right now who had a number that low, which is pretty much anybody around that level of player, who you thought could accidentally run into an 11-yard catch, it's McCole, right? Like, doesn't he seem like the most likely to found a catch, at least on that end? I'd have to look it back up. I don't think totals are out yet, or over/under totals are out
not
yet.
for receiving. There are rushing props already out there for James Cook and Josh Allen. None for the Chiefs yet. Passing props are up there for Josh Allen and Mahomes, but we'll talk about some more of this stuff tonight on
receiving props yet,
tonight on that betting show. That's what sometimes I run into this. Now we moved the show to Wednesday nights, the betting show. And sometimes a lot of the props are not available when I'm live at 6, but then at 6:40 they'll all of a sudden populate. I've run into that a couple
Now we're
times,
talking about this.
anyway.
I'm absolutely betting McCole Hardman's over
Go for
this
it.
week.
You go right ahead, man.
I don't even know what the number is. I'm just going to bet it because it just feels right.
Let's talk more about Allen and Mahomes. I mentioned their props are already out there, but let's stay away from the betting stuff for a second and just talk about these two quarterbacks, because I still think these are the two best quarterbacks in football, even if Lamar Jackson has been maybe the best player in football this season. But preseason QB list, everybody's got their list or whatever. I had Mahomes 1, I had Allen 2, I had Burrow 3. I remember Drew and I had a whole argument about it in August, and my whole thing was just more about staying healthy for Burrow. And to his credit, he's putting up insane numbers. But Josh Allen, to me, is number 2 behind Patrick Mahomes. And we get a 1-2 matchup here. We know in the regular season matchups, Josh Allen has won more of those. In the postseason, of course, it's been dominated by Patrick Mahomes. And the narrative around these two quarterbacks, I think, are funny, because last year, even if I thought it was a ridiculous stat, there was a ton of conversation how Patrick Mahomes should have had more turnovers. He was getting lucky, and there was these turnover-worthy plays. That was from Pro Football Focus. Remember, we kind of made fun of it because nationally people were utilizing it. So you fast forward to this year, in a year in which Mahomes has 9 turnovers and Josh Allen only has 4, and he's protecting the ball, he's making smart decisions in the red zone. The turnover-worthy play stat is just funny. Josh Allen actually has 13 of them this year, and Mahomes has 8. So if we're using the same national narrative as last year...
So wait, Mahomes has more turnovers than he has turnover-worthy plays?
Correct. based on Pro Football Focus.
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm just reading the stat.
How can you turn it over more times than you have worthy plays of turning it over?
That's right.
I guess some of those is the
Unlucky.
He's had like 3 balls knocked down at the line of scrimmage that have ended up as interceptions. I'm guessing they don't count those as turnover worthy plays, as in you didn't physically put the ball near a defender who had a chance to turn it over. I don't think Josh Allen looks any different this year than in any other year except one area, the red zone where he's not giving the ball away. I think he looks exactly the same. He's on pace for the same number of yardage, same amount of touchdowns. He's just on for less interceptions, and specifically those seem to be in the red zone. But I still view these two quarterbacks as not being or belonging to the same tier. It's not meant to be a knock, but it's like when you see those stats and there's numbers applied to it. Josh Allen is closer to Lamar Jackson than he is to Patrick Mahomes. Those guys are on almost equal footing. I would take Josh Allen instead of Lamar Jackson. It would be a very difficult call, and I'd be very close to taking Lamar Jackson probably on that end. I think they're very comparably great quarterbacks, but those two are closer to each other than the gap between Patrick Mahomes and that. And some of that is just the simple reality. Mahomes has 2 more MVPs than Josh Allen has, 3 more Super Bowl titles, 3 more Super Bowl MVP, whatever, right? They have somewhat similar stats over the last 5 years total. Yardage, touchdowns, all that stuff. The hardware part of it is so starkly
I'm with you. Now, I'll play the
different.
other side just for the sake of the conversation. Someone would say, well, then what about Lamar? Because Lamar has more hardware than Josh Allen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
but
just
at
like
least
the
it's not as stark.
MVP stuff.
Does
I
that
guess.
make sense?
Yeah.
It's not as stark. They both have made it to a single AFC title game. And so, and I'm not saying, like he obviously has the MVPs. And I think that if somebody told me today, like, oh, I take Lamar over him. Okay. I mean,
Sure.
Would I even like raise a fit about it? No. We can just like agree to disagree. Like, I don't even want to have an argument over it.
Because
right?
how many AFC title games has Josh Allen played in? We know 1 against Kansas City, and Lamar's played in 1 against Kansas City. So it's not like so Lamar has 2 MVPs. Josh
Joe
Allen's
Burrow's played in 2.
Right. No, that's my point. It's just like so the hardware thing and appearance thing is kind of interesting. I just think if we watch Josh Allen and you consider what he has been able to do in some of these playoff games, is it much different? Like, is it much different than Lamar Jackson? Like, I would rather have Josh Allen as my quarterback than Lamar Jackson. And that some people would disagree with that. But, and Lamar's going to be in the Hall of Fame based on the fact that he's already got 2 MVPs, whether he ever wins a ring or not. But both quarterbacks, we judge the same in terms of the hardware. Like, the next step for Josh Allen is winning a Super Bowl or getting there. Lamar Jackson, now, everybody knows he's unbelievable and he's got MVPs. Nobody almost cares about that anymore now, fair or not, and probably unfairly. Yeah. It's about, can he get to the Super Bowl? That he's set the bar so high now for him and Josh Allen that all anybody is really going to view them on is, do they get to the Super Bowl anymore?
Like Patrick Mahomes, I looked up the head-to-head stats, leads Josh Allen in every single passing category available. They have played in 1 game different. Mahomes has played in 105 games. Josh Allen has played in 104, including the postseason. So, because Mahomes has missed some time and Josh Allen hasn't missed much time. Mahomes has a better completion percentage, 6,000 more passing yards, a better yards per attempt, more passing touchdowns by about 45, less interceptions by about 10, a better quarterback rating. Like, the only stats that Josh Allen leads him in are rushing stats. And honestly, the lead there in rushing touchdowns is significant, to where their total number of touchdowns is very similar, but the rushing yardage is not as significant as you think. It's about a 1,500-yard difference over the course of that time.
The whole conversation, like, is this about legacy, or is this about them being?
I just think like them battling it out as quarterbacks. Yeah, or just think toe to toe. They're the 2 best quarterbacks in the league. Still bang for buck for me.
Yeah, I mean, the conversation, like someone on the text line said, this isn't a discussion. Allen and Jackson combined, Mahomes is a 3-ring lead.
That's a legacy conversation.
Yeah.
It's a legacy conversation, but also I don't think, I wasn't when I was discussing this, at least. I don't know if this was the angle you were taking. no, we're not debating if Mahomes is better than Allen. That thing was settled years ago.
I just want to know how you view
that thing was settled years ago. The comparison was Lamar and Josh Allen more than that. It's the fact that these are the two best quarterbacks, but we're way past
it's more
the
who's quarterback 2 than it is who's 1.
Yeah, we're way past the is Mahomes better than any other quarterback in football. That ended like 3 years ago.
Here's a good question to ask as it relates to this. If Patrick Mahomes was in the NFC, what do you think Josh Allen's career accomplishments would be?
He'd be in a Super Bowl already, obviously.
I think he would have made one by now.
Would he have won one? Would he have won more than? Would he have an MVP?
He would. You just told me if Mahomes was in the NFC, they would have ran into each other in the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs would have beat him there. So no, he would not have a ring.
I don't.
Would he have an MVP? Would he have?
I don't think that would be. I don't think it'd be
Super Bowl appearances.
I don't think it would be any different regarding the MVP than it is now because it's a league-wide thing. It's not just an AFC.
I think that's fair. I think that part that's a fair point. The only difference is he would have been in at least one Super Bowl by now.
I think he would have made one. I don't know if he'd have won it, but I think he would have.
I think you made case for 2 because the 1 year he lost 13-second game was a divisional round game. So if you're not playing Mahomes, you're in the AFC title game. I know you'll say Cincinnati, Drew. I understand, but I would say I think there's a decent chance Josh Allen would have been in 2 Super Bowls already. We know for sure 1 because he literally lost to Mahomes in the AFC title game.
The truth is, I think he would have 1 Super Bowl title, an MVP, because all of those things that help him. Where
who would he have?
You don't even have to play the Chiefs in the regular season.
I know, but in this hypothetical,
that doesn't exist.
But in this
anymore.
hypothetical, Mahomes is in the NFC. So why do you think he would for sure have a ring?
It's like the Rams year. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not saying it's the year he faces Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I'm saying it's the rare full moon case where Mahomes isn't in it.
So you think if
that's his ring?
So you think if Mahomes didn't take him out of the equation, he doesn't exist in this conversation
at all?
You think?
I think Josh Allen would be a multi-Super Bowl winner. Patrick Mahomes just isn't in the league.
You think so?
How could we not think that based on his level of play? The one thing that has stopped Josh Allen from genuinely, honestly, true greatness is because Patrick Mahomes exists. This is Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley. It just is. Some other NBA players would have won NBA championship rings if Michael Jordan was just non-existent.
I understand. I will say this one time. He played Joe Burrow. I don't know if it's been twice. It's been once in the playoffs. He didn't even sniff a win. Well, it wasn't even close. He wasn't even in the 13-second wouldn't have happened because they got killed in the game that they played the Bengals in. I think Lamar, to me, if we're having the conversation of, I think Lamar would have been in, I think he would have been in 2. I'm more convinced to say Lamar, I think, would have been in more.
He for sure would have been in 1. He would have been in 1 for sure because he just lost in the AFC title game last year.
Yeah. I just think that Lamar.
They've only played each other one time. The Bengals and Bills.
I know, and
like head to head. Like I can't.
I know, and it wasn't a close game.
I know that's like one game. I think that's the smallest.
For the conversation, I think Lamar would have won. I think Lamar would have, in this universe, if you will, have been to more or maybe even one more than Josh Allen.
I don't think any of them would have multiple, though. I guess that's where, in this hypothetical, I would disagree.
Okay.
I don't think Josh Allen would have made it, though,
I don't think Josh Allen would have won multiple rings by now. That probably, I would disagree.
In a world in which Patrick Mahomes doesn't exist?
Yeah, because think about if we're just going with the same matchups. Like, do I think that in the game when the Chiefs were down the first Super Bowl against the 49ers when they needed jet chip wasp, do I think Josh Allen's pulling that one off? No, I do not.
So you think Jimmy G's got one?
Absolutely. I think Jimmy Garoppolo has a ring. Do I think against Jalen Hurts and the Eagles that Josh Allen's pulling that off? Maybe. I don't know.
Do you think the Bengals win that if they'd have gotten past the Chiefs in that AFC title game?
Would that be the Eagles year?
Yeah. That was the Eagles year, the year after.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think that's in the conversation.
Again, I don't think any of them would have multiple. I think there would, if in the terrible world where Patrick Mahomes is not a quarterback in the AFC or for the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe
think Lamar Jackson would get more.
I think Burrow and Allen for sure have a ring. Not so sure. I don't think any of them have multiple.
What's crazy is there's 3 rings you got to if you just give everyone the rings they already won, really what you're talking about is distributing 3. So giving Allen 2 is probably a little high.
Well, if you even take away,
but 4 appearances, and so maybe he wins that game against Tampa Bay because their line's not a disaster show.
Who did the Chiefs beat to get to that Super Bowl against Tampa? I can't remember.
I don't know. Cincinnati, probably.
No.
Buffalo.
Wasn't that Buffalo?
That might have been the 13-second game, actually.
That was the weirdo?
No, 13-second was a divisional round game because then they lost.
Right.
Remember, the Grim Reaper thing fell apart because they
Mm-hmm.
lost to your freaking Bengals the next week.
The Bengals weren't relevant when Tom Brady was still in Tampa in that Super Bowl. They
You know, it's getting so hard to keep track of them.
Yeah, there's so many AFC title game appearances. Our
I don't want to be a
apologies.
jerk about it.
I don't want to say
it's
Tennessee, but was it actually Tennessee wasn't in the AFC title game?
They beat Tennessee. They didn't lose to Tennessee in that.
It's getting really hard to keep track.
Was it Baltimore
It
or
was
Pittsburgh?
It was either Tennessee or Buffalo.
All right, here we go.
It was Tennessee.
Yeah.
They beat Tennessee in the AFC title. So God, Tennessee would have been in a Super Bowl with Ryan Tannehill.
No way. Just like
just thinking
the whole
about that is
math
crazy.
changes because the Chiefs played someone in the divisional round, and that team wins instead of loses to Kansas City most likely.
Yeah.
And then that team also beats Tennessee, and that might be Buffalo, right? That might be the divisional round at Buffalo in 2020 for all I know, or that might have been, like
in this world we would have had a Ryan Tannehill versus Tom Brady Super Bowl. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
That'd be gross.
No chance.
That would be gross.
No chance that's how the season would have gone if we do the butterfly effect and Patrick Mahomes just doesn't exist.
Did the Chiefs? I can't remember. Did the Chiefs play Jacksonville in the playoffs after they beat the Chargers a couple years ago? Was that a divisional round playoff?
Yeah, that's the game.
That was
Mahomes
a
hurt his
divisional.
ankle. Chad Henne had the drive, the 90-something yard drive.
So theoretically, Cody, Trevor Lawrence could have potentially made a Super Bowl with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, that's
maybe,
of course
but-
woulda, coulda, shoulda.
No. Again, I just think that's what the whole thing. It's like the hypothetical that you guys are pointing out that like, oh, Ryan Tannehill did it, or oh, maybe that year it was gonna. No, it wouldn't have been. It would have been the other two. It'd have been either Lamar Jackson, Josh
I think
Allen.
we're still messing
if
up.
Patrick
the,
Mahomes was out of there.
I think we still messed up
Maybe.
the teams. By the way, I think
If-
the Titans year I thought was the first year they went to the playoffs.
No, that was New England.
What year
No,
was
no,
Brady
They
on
lost to
on
New
the
England.
Bucks?
I'm going to the Super Bowl. They lost to New England.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. The year they played the
Mahomes.
Bucks.
Yeah, he's talking about the
maybe
year they
it's
played the
Buffalo.
Bucks. I
Who
thought
did they play in
Tennessee-
the AFC title?
It was
I
the
think-
COVID year. Was Tennessee?
Okay.
Yeah,
that was-
multiple,
that was
people
what I
texting,
was wondering.
multiple people texting in Buffalo, but I don't. Again, they've been to
track
7 of these things. You know, it's tough.
Just, you know, just
Josh
getting
Allen
tough.
would have been to. He would have been to many of them. I guess you could say maybe he wins. I think he wins one of those. I guess at that rate.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew, over in the text line, 913-586-7965. Of course, you can hit us up on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. Let us know if you want to follow us on there. What do you see there, Gold?
Everybody is all caps. Bills.
Fine, it was the Bills. I'm not going to go back through and search each one.
Tennessee was the first year they got to the Super Bowl because that was the Mahomes down. He's not out of bounds yet run.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great.
Anyway,
Either way,
go ahead.
they've beaten a lot of different teams, of course, across 1,000 different times. So, Bills it is, at least on that end. As you know, I have been teaching, I only have 2 classes left of my first semester back at UMKC.
Time flies.
I am not giving, and I have not given a single in-class test. That's not what this class is about. We're not out here giving tests. That's not what we're supposed
You
to
have
do.
a project?
But the question is this professor in the wrong had I done it this way? All right, so professor's giving a test in the class. What he has done in his classroom, and I'm going to play you the clip, is install cameras to look at kids in the middle of the class. And what the clip you're about to hear is he, in the middle of them taking the test, starts zooming in on students' computers to accuse them of cheating.
No one seems to be paying attention anymore in class. I'm going to implement a new camera system to check on your screens here. Just be checking every now and then to see what you guys are going to be doing. Oh my God. Mr. Luca, what the hell is that? What the hell are you doing? That other cheating tool in my classroom?
It's not cheating. It's not a cheating tool.
That looks like my lecture right there.
I asked it to make a study guide from your lecture. It helps me. It also gives me notes and summaries and flashcards.
Yeah, so that's cheating.
This has to be freaking illegal.
I'm not paying attention anymore. What made me do?
So he's saying
So,
people
okay,
aren't paying
so-
attention anymore.
so,
he installed cameras, and then he'll randomly in the middle of the class zoom in on what you're looking at on your laptop, put it up on the big screen, and shame you.
So during,
Is this
like
good?
after the test or during the test?
During.
So during the test, he's got a camera in the back room. He's on his laptop or desktop. He's looking around the classroom to see, and he's zooming in on your work.
You're
and then
on ESPN, he
then
calls you out.
he calls you out.
Is this acceptable behavior, yes or no?
I don't think you
In
should.
college, absolutely not.
I don't think the professor should be spending his time doing that. No.
Is the difference in
Obviously,
college,
the
do we all
more-
agree that I'm paying you the money so you no longer really get to be like
Correct.
that critical of how I'm
I think
handling
it-
this?
I
My
think you
grade's
could
my
say
grade
it's
if I'm not
as
paying
simple as
attention.
that.
Yeah. Now look, overall, like the simple answer to this, someone will text in, but we don't live in a simplified world. Is like, well, then just don't. How about you don't cheat? No kidding. Obviously, in a perfect world, nobody would cheat on anything and whatever. But that's just not the world we live
Who
in.
hasn't cheated on a test in school?
Right. So it's weird though that by the way, he's installing hidden cameras. Like that's a little creepy.
Have you cheated
on a test before? Yeah.
That's what I don't think anybody in their right mind can say they haven't at least
How
glanced.
dare you?
Yeah.
God.
Have you, Mr. Professor?
I don't think I've ever cheated on a test. I've cheated, but I don't think I've ever cheated on a test. The one time I remember getting in trouble was I used to cheat for other kids. So you
cheated too then.
So
you
I
cheated.
used,
100%, that counts.
So in middle school, the one that I got caught doing was we had AR tests where you had to get a certain number of points a semester to prove that you were reading, and I would take those tests for kids for money. So I mean,
you totally cheated. Yes, you were. You
I was
absolutely
just taking
were.
a test. I did the reading.
Cody, you know how this works, right?
I did the reading.
But if you
Cody,
do something for somebody else, it doesn't matter
you're
whether
an
it's yours or not.
accessory to crime.
Absolutely.
Just because Drew goes and robs the bank and you're just sitting in the car and you didn't know he was going to rob the bank, you can still be charged with the crime.
If you're driving the car, you're a part of it. You didn't have to do the act.
But like I knew the subject. It feels less egregious. You know?
I'm sure it felt
feels
that
like
way, but
less,
it does.
Feels like less bad.
I do. The part that's weird is like you're installing a hidden camera. That just makes me wonder where else you're putting hidden cameras, buddy. I don't like this
like
profession.
Somebody made some like looking down someone's shirt.
You're
like,
putting hidden cameras and zooming in on your students. No, we don't need to be doing that either.
I honestly just don't think you like teaching. You should get out. It ain't for you anymore. This ain't the game for you anymore. Get into something else. You're like, this sounds like the teacher, the same as the coaches who hate NIL. Like, none of you pay attention anymore. Using AI to make flashcards. You're like, yeah, man, that's a tool that's available to this kid. What do you care if he's creating a study guide out of your lecture notes? That seems like a good thing.
But he's saying you're
effort.
not allowed to use notes on the test, right? That was the issue, correct?
That the whole thing was, I'm going to install cameras to see what you're looking at because you guys aren't paying attention in class. Like, he felt he was being disrespected, I think, and then he took it to another level.
My younger brother would show me, like, when he was going to the school for accounting.
Do we know what grade, what college this was at?
I don't remember.
We do not know.
I'm fascinated to know what school this was.
So somebody has a... I don't know if it's true, but it's a funny enough story to bring it up, I think. My wife had a elaborate cheating scam in advanced chemistry. There was a genius in their class that would tap a certain amount of times on the desk to share multiple choice answers. He went on to NASA.
Yeah. I mean, look, smart people still cheat. I don't think there's any saying outside of that. My brother, like, I always wonder with this with cheating sometimes.
Cool, smart people. Because, again, they're hold on. Sorry. No offense. From somebody who was not the brightest in class.
Oh, my
There
goodness.
are moments where there are people who are like, hey, man, help me out a little bit here. They didn't want any part of it. They were in there. They were locked in. They were not helping anybody out. A couple other people you'd be friends with, played sports with, whatever it was. They would help you out a little bit.
I only helped cheat the people that I liked. Like, if you were kind of a jerk, I'm not going to help you cheat.
Exactly.
I'm not going to let you
That's
copy
part of
my
it.
paper. We're not doing anything like that. Again, like, sometimes it's so, like, my brother would show me, like, the effort he would go through to, like, cheat on an accounting exam in college, right? He'd be like, he'd be like the Jason Bourne of cheating. And you're like, I got to be honest. The amount of work this took, if you just studied for the test, would you have been the same?
Yes, I didn't.
I'm just going to say right now, had you put in this amount of effort into just rocking a study guide, are we in the same boat?
No. Me? No. I've already said, we've already talked about how much higher we think our IQ is, given the events that have happened since I have joined this company with the whole couch thing. I'm obviously not the brightest person in the room, so if I studied really hard, I think I could get in the room of passing fine, but I'm not as good as if I'm just cheating off the smartest person in the class. Sorry. I'll take it. Either I get an A or I get a B minus.
Apologies to the teachers listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom's a PE teacher, or had been a PE teacher.
Any teachers that might be listening that I once ever had, my apologies.
I got to teach my kids not to cheat. Work hard.
You should.
Earn their grades.
You should definitely.
High school, I was really, really bad.
Kids got a math test today.
At glancing.
Wandering eyes.
While taking tests and trying to get the grades up a little bit. College, I was a lot better at because I enjoyed the classes a little bit more.
I never cheat.
So I felt like I wanted to do better.
I didn't cheat when I studied. Not in
know?
college. I never did. It happened one time in high school. I never cheated in college. It was a one-time thing in high school.
You cheated one time
in high school. Yeah, we all got caught. It was not a good thing. Anyway, up next, we'll get to the 1 o'clock.
I feel terrible now because
1 o'clock hour. There's a report out there about a potential trade target for the Royals. It's been a little bit since we talked about the Royals going out and making a trade like this, perhaps in the offseason. We'll tell you who it involves next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at bluekc.com.
Easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings off 152 in North Flintlock Road in KC Mo, Friday, November 15th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champ while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
We're hiring residential garage door installers at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Join the team trusted here since 1927. Apply today, get a call today. No experience necessary. Paid training for motivated applicants to install garage doors. Hiring bonus up to $2,500. Mechanical, carpentry, or service industry experience is a plus. Good benefits include health, dental, vision, and pension. Earn as you learn to service the best garage door customers in KC. Apply today at overheaddoorkc.com.
I'm McCall with Lisa Mitsuber, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review-rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lisa Mitsubaru.
Google highest review-rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Dick Ray, he's your heating magician. Dick Ray, he's a man on a mission. In the dead of winter when the furnace is broken and a chill is in the air, you can call Dick Ray and he'll fix it up with care. He's always there. Call Dick Ray, he's your heating magician.
Hey, it's Dick Ray. Schedule your furnace tune-up today. Only $79. Call 913-DICK-RAY.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
It's Thirsty Thursday at Hy-Vee. Time to stock up the bar and fill up your tank. Earn 50 cents per gallon fuel savings on every $50 purchase of wine, beer, hard seltzer, and spirits. Mix and match all your favorite libations and get a 50-cent fuel saver with every $50 purchase. Stack up the savings, and your next fill-up could be free. Don't miss Thirsty Thursday at your Kansas City, Missouri Hy-Vee. Product and promotion differs by location. Offers valid where legal, available while supplies last.
I can't wait to watch the Chiefs go up and down the field and score a ton of points this year. And now I have even more reason to cheer on the Chiefs. I just head to Hy-Vee the day after any game and score savings at the pump with my Hy-Vee Perks card. Win or lose, I earn fuel saver discounts equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount I spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, I save 42 cents a gallon when I spend $42. The more we score, the more I save. Only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Hey, it's Bob Fesco, and I'm here with my friend Brian Manning of Manning Roofing. Why is it important to deal with a roofing company that understands the insurance side of the business?
First of all, you want to make sure that you get all of the damage covered at your property. We have a very experienced team that's licensed and insured. We do roofs, windows, siding, and gutters, along with some interior trades, and we can make sure that all of the damage is taken care of.
I've used Manning Roofing at my house, so set up your appointment today at ManningGC.com or 816-448-8208. The choice is simple. It's Manning Roofing.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by calling 844-300-LEAF to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Call Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate and to save up to 30%. Dial 844-300-LEAF. That's 844-300-LEAF.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? 'Cause I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Listen to the Chiefs and Bills game on Sunday with pregame starting at noon. Kickoff at 3:25 with Mitch, Danon, and Kling. Right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM. HD1 and HD2 Kansas City. An Odyssey Sports Station.
1 o'clock hour here on a Wednesday. Hope you're having a good day. I just this is one of those
You
days.
don't like the weather?
Look, some people I think like this. If it was a Saturday and I had nowhere to go, I just chill on the couch, get a blanket, watch some college football. I'm all about it. Not when it's you got things to do. You got to go to work. You got things to do. I got other stuff to do today. I got another show tonight. No, I don't want this crappy weather. I know I have to walk the dog. So, no, I'd rather it not be cloudy and rainy. Is it still raining or is it just cloudy? Now, we got the blinds closed behind me, so I can't tell if it's still raining or not.
Big fan of my screen porch weather like this. Sit
Okay.
outside,
I hear you
little
there.
drizzle hitting the rooftop, put a movie on, put TV on.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. That's if
Nice.
the weather's good if you're not working. You know, if you weren't working, you had a fire pit. Yeah, this all sounds great, but again, not on a Wednesday in the middle of the day. Now, some of you have it way worse, right? You're actually working outside in these elements. You know, you're delivering mail or whatever it may
Versus
be.
us just doing this stupid
It's
radio
nice and
show.
dry in here, you know. But if you were asking my opinion on do I like this weather, not unless I'm off of work.
What I have decided that if radio doesn't work out here in the long term, I gotta find a job. So I gotta find a job. I'm gonna have to You
have a job.
No, I'm gonna have to find a job that is not behind a desk. I'm gonna need to go to Centric so I can be free flowing in a workplace, or I gotta be a mailman. I gotta be a postal worker. I need something. I gotta learn a trade. I gotta learn to be a plumber or something. I can't ever have a regular desk job ever again. I'll hate it. I'll hate it.
Well, this radio thing so far is working out, so I hope that you don't have to do that.
You want to be able to you would be the person who is texting in saying, screw you for saying it's a little bit cold in the studio.
I would rather be that person,
Yeah.
dead serious, than all
what
right,
you were.
hey guys, we got our 9:30 today on the oh,
No, I'm with you. Sitting in a cubicle for 8 hours.
Understood.
I'm
I
with you.
can't.
Sitting at a cubicle for 8 hours would be a big adjustment from what we do. We're obviously talking sports in a studio. 913-586-7965. Someone says Gold's take on the weather today is as bad as Cody saying the studio was too
Nah,
cold.
I
I
got
don't know
crushed
about that.
universally.
I don't think
for that one.
I don't think it's as bad.
It was
Cody was complaining.
105
Cody was
degrees.
complaining that it was.
I said it was
yeah,
cold in
Cody
here.
was complaining it was cold in here while you guys were sweating your ass off. I'm just saying I don't prefer this weather unless I'm sitting
Mine
at
was worse.
home. You know. Anyway, someone said they figured you would try to be a chef, Cody. Not after
Maybe.
the green onion incident. Nope.
I like being in the kitchen. Maybe I don't have any professional training. That someone says I work as a courier. That's in Cody's wheelhouse. I did that job.
Yeah, you
6
did.
to 0.
You did.
I did that job for a number of years, maybe 5 or 6 years of my life. So yeah, not bad. You're behind the wheel of a car, windows down, music, podcast, whatever. Yeah, that was all right. I liked that.
We get back to the Chiefs here in about 8 minutes or so, talking about the running back situation and where they're at, knowing that Isaiah Pacheco is getting ramped up today, going to practice in some form for the Chiefs. We heard that from Andy Reid. But let's talk Royals briefly. That's because We know it's award season. All the awards are coming out and everything, which is neat to see the Royals well represented, either as finalists or winning the Silver Slugger Award, both Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez. But we know after they brought back Michael Walker, the clear priority now is still finding a leadoff hitter, maybe a third baseman. But how do you do that? Because the roster is still kind of set in terms of who are you kicking out. So maybe you find a trade. For the first time this offseason, winter meetings are still about a month away or less than a month away. There's a name that was floated as a trade candidate that I think we all agree could be really interesting for the Royals. Now, it might be a guy that fits for a lot of teams, so I don't know what the exact market could be, but Alec Boehm is rumored to be available. Talented third baseman, still under 30, not a free agent until 2027. He's ARB eligible next year, so you're not going to have to break the bank financially. Compensation-wise, what does it take? You need a leadoff hitter. I'd be willing to give up a decent amount. This isn't going out and trading for a Juan Soto or something. So you're not giving up like every single top prospect in your organization. No. Does it involve trading a big leaguer with a prospect? I honestly just don't know what the compensation is going to be. But the player itself, absolutely interested in Alec Boehm as a potential leadoff hitter trade candidate for the Royals.
I really think that this is a near perfect fit. And I don't know if you've leaned into this either. I firmly decided I want one more bat without question. And I know that they've said like, well, we want him to like rotate in. Like, nope. I want a full-time starting bat because that is the only obvious area of improvement needed by the Royals. If you told me right now they had to roll out their starting rotation and roll out their bullpen, I'd actually feel pretty good. If you told me they had to roll out 5, 6, 7 of their starters in the offensive line, I'd feel pretty good. The only obvious need is a leadoff hitter who gets on base or a middle-of-the-order hitter who gets on base so that they can hit Bobby Witt Jr. leadoff. It's painfully obvious. So whether they're willing to pay for Bregman or they're willing to pay for Santander, a player that I think you and I both know the Royals like.
Yes.
Or a player like Alec Boehm, I think that's the kind of move where this falls into the transactional category. The reason why I like Alec Boehm is it would seem fairly obvious to me they would include at least one of your big league players, either Maikel Garcia or MJ Melendez or Chris Bubich or Alec Marsh, and some of your minor league system for a player with multiple years of control who gets on base, who plays a position that you can upgrade at right now. Not that couldn't be better down the road, but that you can upgrade at now. I want the Royals to make one more big move. I want them to make one splash, and then they can be done for the rest of winter until they get to April.
This all stems from Jeff Passan's reporting that says the Phillies have actually placed all-star third baseman Alec Boehm on the trade block. They're trying to make some adjustments for this year. It's a roster there that's getting a little bit older, and so they're trying to, even though they've been successful the last couple of years, they're trying to kind of rebuild that thing a little bit and mix in some youth with some of the aging veterans. Alec Boehm is coming off a season in which he made his first All-Star game. This isn't some player that is on a downward spiral. He had a second half that wasn't as impressive, but during the first half, 830 OPS, 11 home runs, 70 RBI.
How old is he?
27 or 28, I think. 28 years old. He's not free agent eligible for a couple years. Financially, it's a great solution. I just don't know what the compensation would be. Yeah, like, is it as simple as an Alec Marsh type with a prospect? It has to be Brady Singer with a prospect? Those are two different stories in terms of what you're asking for. In terms of some of the projections, Spot Track estimates that he would cost around, with arbitration, 2 more years of ARB eligible, $8.1 million is what they put the estimate at.
And then probably 12 or 13 for the following year if he continues to be productive. But listen to those numbers. This is why this deal for the Royals has to be incredibly appealing, Gold. This is a way to improve your team without significantly adding to your payroll. Not something that the Royals have been shy of by any means. They've added tons to their payroll.
But it's not 15 or 20 million a year.
But yeah, it's like playing both sides of the coin. You gave Walker a bunch of money. You spent a bunch of money last offseason, and now you could add a player for a relatively low expense, $20 million over 2 years.
Let's say it is Brady Singer. You making the trade?
I would. I feel better because if Walker was back, you can't even
straight up. If it's
straight up,
Singer.
I don't think that gets it done. Like there's some other exchange happening, but I don't think 1-for-1 trades happen all that often in baseball.
That's not one of their better prospects. I'd probably do it.
I think I would, Drew, because Walker's back. If Walker's not back, then we're having a different conversation. You need Brady to be your fourth starter.
Not that I think you'd make the trade. It would be a quicker yes with Marsh. But if you think it's Brady Singer, I mean, that goes back to the conversation with Vern, where Vern's like, I don't know if I would trade him right now. And that was part of, your guys' whole conversation. If it was Brady, like if you had to get rid of Brady, are you willing to sacrifice losing Brady for that bat that you think they need so badly? I guess, how badly do you think they need that bat?
It's very easy for me to say it, obviously. Would I? Yes. I think the rotation, if all of a sudden the rotation was Reagans, Lugo, Walker, and then suddenly either Bubic or
Marsh.
Right, sorry, I was thinking Kyle Wright is in there, and I work out my fourth or I can do that because I think it's enough of an upgrade. All of a sudden, I got a leadoff hitter. I got my third baseman. And based on the season he just had, I think it's a significant upgrade at third base. I think Miguel Garcia can be a great big league player, but he's coming off let's be honest, not a good season, a bad season, as a matter of fact. Yeah. And this team found a way to get to the postseason. I got to elevate. How do I make sure, I'm back in the postseason? How do I elevate? I know they won in large part because of starting pitching. I don't think the drop-off is going to be as huge. And if there is, I got to then have my offense pick it up.
Yeah, and I think the bullpen's better already on paper.
Because I'm worried about a little bit of regression just naturally from Seth Lugo. Not that he's going to be bad.
But maybe he won't be a Cy Young finalist?
Yeah, like that's, by the way, that's not a crazy thing. Oh, my goodness, he might not be a Cy Young finalist again.
Hater.
He regresses a little bit. Well, then my offense is going to have to pick up some of the slack. I know what Bobby is. We know what Vinny was capable of when he was fully healthy. I need somebody to pick up the slack. And are you confident that MJ and Maikel Garcia and some of these guys are just going to do that? Or do I need to go outside the organization? Alec Boehm, to me, would be a clear upgrade at the top of the order. Boehm, Witt, Vinny, Salvi. Okay. I kind of like that.
Yeah. That's far deeper and a much more challenging lineup than they've had before. Small NFL news. Adam Schefter reporting Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy had a second surgery on his right knee to address the swelling that developed and an uptick in rehab activity. As part of the procedure, this is Kevin Seifert over ESPN, was given a biological injection. According to him, there's no change in his recovery timeline. I would hate this if I was a Vikings fan. He couldn't even get through the recovery period of the first surgery before they're like, we're going to inject some more stuff into your knee and give you another surgery. I understand it's probably minor, but like, man, would you be feeling all that good about that if you were a Vikings fan?
It'd make you nervous that he also still has until next July or August to be ready to roll. Maybe a little bit of minor setback, although I don't even call it a setback if they're saying his timeline remains the same. So I think it's still, whatever you felt about J.J. McCarthy probably shouldn't change, but I get why you would be more skeptical. I have no idea how common it is for a player to have to require this injection. I don't know. I mean, I had never heard of that before, so I'm not going to.
That's usually what stands out.
It's not too
like,
often,
I would
have.
Yeah, a lot of guys have had knee surgeries in the NFL, and this is the first time ever I recall this injection being given.
There's no way it's the first time, though. Maybe the first time we know, but there's no way it's the first time. Here's all it says is biologic injection, a shot or injection of a biologic drug, which is a protein-based medicine from living cells. That's the simple definition of it. I have no idea. It's not the same as steroids. That's what you normally hear, something like that.
A lot take steroids, you know.
Wow, there's certain steroids you can take, but
I'm joking.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's funny you brought that up because I was telling you that we were back. We were earlier talking about eBay and selling things and cards and stuff like that. I just had a lucky pull of a J.J. McCarthy.
You're getting back into
flawless,
the card game
a little bit. J.J. McCarthy flawless on card autograph. And now I'm like, I don't like hearing this news.
Maybe just wait till he plays before you sell it.
I think so. Might have to.
Let him look good under Kevin O'Connell before you start selling.
Might have to.
Maybe someone will buy it on the text line. How much did you pay for you played a card break, right?
Yeah, it was. I actually got a.
Was it hundreds of dollars or like tens of dollars?
Not to nerd out too much, but it was what they call a serial break. So you're basically buying a spot in the break of like number 18, and if there happens to be any card that's 18 out of anything, you get that card. It was like a $12 spot. Very lucky, and the card is 18 out of 20.
Should we? I mean, is there good money in this, or do people just do it for like
it's
the
still
video
a form
stream
of.
stuff?
I mean, basically, you're still gambling.
No, I meant like for the people who are buying the $1,000 box.
Oh, for sure.
Is there
they're
money in it?
Yeah, if they do their break right, absolutely, because they're going to sell. In that break, there were 99 spots. So let's say it's more than a $10
but they know
average.
that every single. Like, they're not going to keep any of the cards at the end of this thing.
Nope.
We know that because there's only out of 99.
Yeah, there were 99 spots, but spot number 1, which could be for 101s or 1 out of 99, 1 out of 75, or 1 out of whatever, that person owns all the ones. That spot went for like $600. You see what I'm saying? Like So it just depends.
And
Anyway,
you only paid $12 for yours.
yeah, I got lucky. People were sleeping because they do an auction on. People were sleeping at the wheel, like people not paying attention.
Oh, so you got a cheap spot at 18.
I got very lucky. Yeah.
What number? Is JJ McCarthy number 18? That would make it even funnier.
No, I just picked a random
I
number.
think he's number 9.
This
If
guy
he was in
right.
college, maybe.
I couldn't remember.
Someone says that just means they injected stem cells, like our friends over at QC Kinetics. There you go.
Oh, good to know. This injury report brought to you by.
That's right.
I've never had stem cells injected to me. Maybe I should have that injected into
No
my foot.
surgery, drugs, or downtime. QCkinetics.com.
Do you think I should get stem cells injected into my foot?
All I know is today, Cody's got the gout again.
Yeah.
Because that foot is dragging again. Everyone, is it the cold weather? What is it? Your foot, you're dragging that club foot behind you today.
I noticed yesterday.
Sorry, I acted up a couple of days ago, and I've been treating it. I've been trying to get it back right. It's just not back right yet.
You looked like you had a little bit of a limp yesterday. I didn't say anything, but I just thought it stood out to me.
Today was very noticeable. We all saw it, Drew. We all saw it. Someone says, better money on those cards, Cody, than buying a pallet of crap and not being able to sell
you're
it.
the person, I keep forgetting to save your number. There's a person on the text line who's
I know,
offered to
wants to
just
buy
buy
it
us out.
Yeah. Do they know it's a
buy
box?
us out for the cost. Yeah.
They know it's a box, not a pallet.
Yeah, they know. They
We
said
just
they'll
need-
buy us out.
Let's just get out of it, please.
I told
It's
them.
been a year.
Whatever it is, anything.
If it's been you, for $250, they said they just buy us out. And
We'll
can
do
just be
that. Let's do that, and then let's buy Drew a pair of headphones with some of the money, please.
You know what? That's a fair.
It's still duct tape. I mean, come on.
Do those look terrible?
I'm gonna have to retape them a little bit.
No,
later
don't
on
have
today.
to retape them. Buy a new pair.
I gotta retape them before I come back in tonight.
Drew, I don't want to get deep into your finances here, but
oh boy.
Nor do I.
I'm just saying, I guarantee you wasted $30 on something that you should just buy headphones with instead. We all have those things.
No, I totally agree with that.
I don't know if it's like a mini fridge that only holds one beer, like the ones that they're selling in garage. But I don't know what it is.
I agree with
There's
that.
$30 you spent that could have been used on headphones.
I can second that.
Don't bet on a DraftKings parlay this weekend. Instead, get some headphones.
Yeah, settle down, Drew. Get something that you need.
Uh-huh.
Or it could be like the degenerate gambler and say, "Wow, I could bet $5 to win 30, and then guess
There you
what?"
go. Yeah, it's always a smart strategy.
Yeah, that's always
real
good.
financially sound.
Oh yeah, I'm sure my parents would love to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You did what?
Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet.
I've seen that as a trend.
KSGamblingHelp.com.
I've seen that as a trend a little bit more now, where people on social media are complaining about a certain thing, and it's like I'm mad that the first quarter prop didn't hit for Miami of Ohio and Kent State or whatever, and then somebody just posts. If you have a gambling, they quote tweet, if you have a gambling problem, like
that's right.
There
you
are
need to stop
certain
being a
things that
sicko.
if you're betting on, I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? What are you betting on this for?
You're
not a professional gamer. No one.
You bet on
That was
snooker.
one
You're the one
time.
that yeah,
and
you're-
Ken let me down. Okay.
Ken.
Bastard.
Someone that definitely has not been letting you down if you've been riding with him fantasy football-wise or making some bets is Kareem Hunt.
No,
and
quite the opposite.
we know that Isaiah Pacheco is getting closer, not this weekend though, but closer to returning. Nate Taylor joined us yesterday on the show, and it sounds like you're in agreement with him. You guys are a little concerned that maybe he's hitting a bit of a wall. We'll talk about this, but this is what Nate had to say.
I think the true answer is yes. He finally hit the wall because he had the least amount of time to rest and get ready for this game, and that goes along with all the Chiefs, right? Their schedule is such a hodgepodge of nonsense when you look at it, because obviously they are the NFL's darling. They're going to be in every time zone this season except for the international one, because they did that last year. So think about this from Kareem Hunt's standpoint. No training camp. They've been giving you the load. Hey, man, our quarterback's ankles kind of jacked up. We're going to hand you the ball a ton in the second half. And, oh, by the way, it's overtime. Guess what, my friend? You're getting the ball again. So for everything that Kareem Hunt has done, that game, and really you can start to, quote-unquote, rest your body at like midnight Tuesday morning.
Yeah, it's a short week from that Bucs game. I hear you, and he's had plenty of games over 23, 24 carries. That's kind of his average now with the Chiefs.
24.7 is the most touches per game
It is.
in anyone in the NFL during that time.
I push back on hitting the wall. There's a difference between hitting a wall and acknowledging that he's getting beat up. hitting the wall is not back-to-back weeks of over 100 yards of scrimmage from scrimmage. That's the only pushback I'll have on that. Now, do I disagree that, man, he's taking some hits? There's a lot of wear and tear on that body right now for a guy that was on the street 2 months ago. All that is totally true. I would be more concerned if Pacheco wasn't trending towards coming back in the next 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. I think when they both come back eventually, I think they have to be careful with both. Knowing that this is a playoff run team and going to the Super Bowl, you need to make sure that Kareem Hunt can help you. I wonder late in the year if Clyde actually gets his first action of the season to protect both Pacheco and Kareem Hunt if the Chiefs have the number 1 seed locked up and there's 2 or 3 weeks to go, which if they win against Buffalo, there is a scenario where by week 16, mathematically even, the number 1 seed is done.
He's only averaging 3.6 yards per carry, which seems low for him considering what we've seen, but some of that goes back to the touches things. Here's his touches by 14 in his first game. 27, 22, 21, 27. Only 14 carries in the rush attempts game in this last game against Denver, but he had 7 catches, which is more catches than he had the rest of the season combined. He had 7 in the first 5 games, 7 in this most recent one. So the same thing. Those 24 touches are very real. He's playing 60% of the offensive snaps. I just think he's cashed. And I don't mean cash for the rest of the season. I just think he's at a theoretical physical wall that I would expect out of any player who had 0 time to work on any of this stuff in the offseason, no training camp, any of this stuff, who's getting played more than any running back in the NFL since the time he got called up to come play in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Look, in fairness, the timing's pretty good by the Chiefs. They must have had a real good idea on how long it was going to take back to Pacheco. Otherwise, I think they'd have reined this in.
They would have had to. I think that'd be way more. If you knew Pacheco was done for the year, they would not be able to get 24 carries a game to Kareem Hunt. I think we already would have seen Clyde Edwards-Helaire activated. That's why I bring up, if you're in the good position later on the year, you don't want to bring Pacheco 100% back and all of a sudden have him getting 20 carries a game himself either. He's still coming off a serious injury when he returns. So I want to make sure he's fresh. And
hasn't been able to run.
There's a chance. We don't. I mean, I hope he's the same guy, but we don't know if he's the same player. I mean,
I'd be more worried if it was like a knee, I guess,
but if he is the same player, well, then all of a sudden they're getting a guy with fresh legs late in the year, which could be devastating to other teams that are out there. But I want to keep both good to go come playoff time, and that's where I wonder if they activate Clyde at some point, because Carson Steele,
I don't think they trust him.
Looks like
and
a
I don't
rookie.
blame them.
Looks like a rookie. I know he had a great preseason story. He had the fumble issue, and the rest is kind of history so far for him.
I think the hard time we're having in Kansas City with a rookie looking like a rookie is that has generally not been the theme. Like, the theme of Kansas City here lately has not been they look like a rookie. It's actually been the exact opposite. A lot of the players they have. Like, look at Jaden Hicks. Every time they use him, and they still use him kind of sparingly, anytime they use him, he's exactly where he's supposed to be, doing the job he's supposed to do, all of these normal-based things where you don't even worry about it. But, yeah, I think with Kareem Hunt, maybe it just comes down to, and this is what I'll be fascinated to see the split, and we'll talk about more, as probably Pacheco most likely comes back next week would be my guess. If he's practicing now, he opened his window. I'm not saying it's 100%, but I feel like there's a pretty decent chance.
It just depends on how things are going with Kareem Hunt.
I would think he comes back or could come back, at least on that end. But, man, you keep running Kareem Hunt like this, he ain't going to make it to the end. He's not going to make it to the finish line. He gets 25 carries or 25 touches a game for much longer.
Coming up next, we'll get to what's trending, and you also hear our conversation we had earlier with Ross Tucker, Odyssey NFL Insider. We asked Russ about where things stand with Wanya Morris, what he's seen from him, and is it possible for someone like Donovan Smith to be able to come off the street, like Kareem Hunt just did, but play left tackle for the Chiefs at some point this year?
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
The difference between real custom jewelry at House of Diamonds and so-called custom jewelry elsewhere is like the difference between painting on a blank canvas versus paint by numbers. This is Gene at House of Diamonds. In our store, you don't pick from a collection of designs. Choose from a list of options. Send it off to who knows where for 6 weeks to be tweaked and call it custom. At House of Diamonds, you and we together design and create a one-of-a-kind custom ring, pendant, earrings, or necklace. And since 100% of the work from start to finish is done right here in our shop, we can deliver real custom jewelry and can back it with a double lifetime warranty instead of a disclaimer. One-of-a-kind, real custom jewelry, handcrafted just for you, only at House of Diamonds. House of Diamonds on the southeast corner of College and Quivira. And online at mybigrock.com.
Do you wake up with joint pain? Does it hurt when you do even the most routine physical activity? Have they told you it's time for knee or hip replacement surgery? Hey, it's Bob Fesco. Stop what you're doing and listen. You deserve a life of comfort and ease with no surgery and no meds, and QC Kinetics can get you there. You can have real lasting relief from chronic joint pain without drugs, without surgery, and without downtime. Discover your options with advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. The consultation is absolutely free. This is an all-natural approach that harnesses your own body's healing properties to treat the root cause of your arthritis pain. So call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. It's QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. Call QC Kinetics today.
There are several reasons folks buy replacement windows for their homes. To improve the looks, make their home more comfortable, or the granddaddy of them all, to save money on their energy bills. And what if you could get triple glass windows for the double glass price? You'd say, Bob, I think the butter has slid off your noodles. But I have 3 words for you. Thermal King Windows. Their triple glass windows are more than 30% more efficient than their next competitor's windows. These American-made beauties are built like a Sherman tank, but with the looks and style of a luxury automobile. And you can take that to the bank. Of course, they'll probably look at you funny and ask you to move aside, at which point you just smile and say, Thermal King Windows. Call today for your free, no-obligation estimate and window consultation. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermalkingwindows.com. Thermal King Windows!
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect? Please? Because I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Lowe's honors our military community this Veterans Day and every day. To say thank you, verified military members, veterans, and their spouses get 10% off everyday purchases, plus free silver key status with My Lowe's Rewards. It's our way of showing our gratitude to the brave people who have and continue to serve our country. Learn more now at lowes.com/military. 10% discount can't be combined with another offer. Exclusions, terms, and conditions apply. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Let's bring the nail gun over here.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak.
But floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Number one centers around the Chiefs. The latest on the injury front. You heard from Andy Reid earlier today on your home for the Chiefs 96.5 The Fan. Andy said Juju Smith-Schuster has, quote, a good chance of playing on Sunday against Buffalo. Did say it's unlikely that Charles Omenihu and Isaiah Pacheco would play. That's not a surprise. Also, though, mentioned everybody's practicing, though. In some form. They're going to ramp up Pacheco and Omenihu, but this is all good. I mean, it's trending, knock on wood, where they could end up being the healthiest they've been all year in about 2 or 3 weeks.
By the Panthers game, feels like an easy one to just like work your way back in just a little bit, right? Hey, Minnie, you want 10% of the snaps, 12% of the snaps. Pacheco want 7 to 10 carries, working your way back in. We got a JV squad coming up in a week. Next up on What's Trending, the Indianapolis Colts. Head coach Shane Steichen has announced they're going back to Anthony Richardson as their starting quarterback, announcing he'll be the starter the rest of the way. 2 full games of Joe Flacco went horribly. 2.5, really, because he came in at least for that one snap when Anthony Richardson tapped himself out, at least on that end. But Anthony Richardson, the starting quarterback the rest of the way for the Colts.
Surprised how quickly they switched. I mean, just in long term, it might be a good thing because maybe Anthony Richardson can learn from that experience and obviously tapping out of a game and all of that, because Joe Flacco was never the long-term solution, but
he was bad.
I'm still surprised. I thought, at the time, it was like, this was not a short-term thing. Joe Flacco was going to be the guy the rest of the way, and that quickly they switched back. It tells me more and more that decision was solely based on guys in the locker room were so ticked off that he pulled himself out of the game more than it was just performance-based. Next up on What's Trending, college basketball. Kansas last night in the Champions Classic got a 77-69 win against the Michigan State Spartans. For Kansas, makes Bill Self the winningest coach in KU basketball history, 591 and 143. That, of course, surpasses Fog Allen's 590. Pretty cool video that they put up. If you're a KU fan, it was a cool video that they put up.
Yeah.
Next up for them Saturday.
It's stupid for anybody else, The dumbest
I enjoyed the video. Oakland. That is the Oakland team out of Detroit, as in the Oakland team that had that kid last year make all those 3-point shots and beat Kentucky.
Yeah, I think that's who
That's the same
He
team.
got asked about it on the side. He's like, what does it mean? He said, it means that I'm old. That's what Bill Self said.
Yeah.
It means that I'm old. That's how
I'm
I got
old
to
and
that.
I've coached a lot of good players.
Next-
Go ahead.
Yeah, which makes sense. Next up on What's Trending, the KC Current have found a new general manager, hiring Caitlin Carducci as their new GM. You might remember they had a GM in place, hired a new head coach or manager of the football club. Seemed like maybe they were at odds about what the structure of the organization would be with Flacco, so they moved on. Caitlin Carducci will be the new general manager of the KC Current.
Lastly, on What's Trending, an update on Greg Popovich, of course, a longtime head coach for the San Antonio Spurs. He's been out for a while. We now know it's due to, unfortunately, his health complications. Had a stroke on November 2nd. He is expected to make a full recovery. It's obviously a scary situation involving a Hall of Fame head coach. That is What's Trending here on Cody and Gold. Earlier today, we had Ross Tucker, our Odyssey NFL insider, join us as he does each and every week, thanks to Hellman's Mayonnaise. And we asked him about the offensive lineman. That's why we were excited to have him on the show, because we started our conversation talking about Wanya Morris, who I think is more appreciated now based off of what we saw from Kingsley.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way to describe it. I think Wanya is okay. I think Kingsley is not. And that's kind of the difference, right? I mean, Wanya is good enough that the Chiefs can probably get by and keep winning the way they have been. I think Kingsley is very likely to cost them a game at this point, and maybe a critical game. I guess, what's the update on Wanya's injury?
I mean, he got back in that game yesterday, but here's the secret behind the way the Chiefs handle media. I won't know how Wanya is until Andy Reid gives an update today in about an hour, Ross. So we'll get an idea of whether he's on the practice field probably inside of an hour. If he practices, he'll be okay. The real question is, do they baby it because they don't want to see Kingsley on the field?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, right? Because, I mean, it's rare for a guy to come back in a game and or finish a game and not play the next week. It happens sometimes, where a guy can like suck it up and play the rest of the game, and then they do some type of imaging, or after the game they're like, oh wow, this is a worse injury than we realized. I can't believe that guy was able to suck it up and play through that. That happens every once in a while. But usually if a guy, A, comes back in a game, B, finishes a game, he's usually able to play in the next game. I do think, obviously, this is the biggest game of the NFL regular season so far, and probably will end up being the case because, I think the teams right now in the AFC look better, the Bills and Chiefs, than anybody in the NFC, although the Eagles are kind of coming now. And this game will go along. Like, if the Chiefs win this game, they're going to have the number one seed.
Yep.
They just are. So there is a lot of importance on it from that perspective to play Wanye to make sure they win the game. But also, they got to make sure, they're in a good situation, actually. It really depends on the injury, but I was going to say they want to let that thing heal if it's something that he needs to give some time to. But the weird thing is, they might have like multiple weeks at the end of the year. But that's a long way away right now. It's like 2 months away.
I just think they just start doing like if they win this game, give Travis the day off against the Panthers. Wanye can have that day off too. Kingsley can get some work in that day too, Ross.
You know what's so funny that you said that? It's so funny that you said that because before that, like basically NFL load management, before the season, I have a fantasy podcast. I have a bunch of podcasts, but in particular the Fantasy Feast podcast, my co-host was not high on Travis Kelce for fantasy football at all because he said that he thought Travis was going to be a smart time player during the regular season. Basically a play on words from part-time player, but he called him a smart time player, meaning that he really thought the Chiefs would manage Travis's snaps and playing time to make sure he was 100% for January like he was last year, which is why a big reason why they won the Super Bowl, which he definitely wasn't last year during the regular season. I mean, you guys have to correct me if I'm wrong, but just watching the games, it doesn't seem like that's been the case at all.
Yeah. He's had like 30 catches the last.
The ball 20 times.
Yeah, 16 targets a week or so ago. So that definitely hasn't been the case whatsoever, as we're talking with Ross Tucker, Odyssey NFL Insider. Back to the offensive line just for a second. A lot of the conversation here about Donovan Smith, who played left tackle in Kansas City a year ago. He still hasn't been signed by anybody. He's out on the street. How difficult or problematic would it be if later on in the season or a week from now they bring him in, he's on the practice squad for a couple weeks, and at some point would have to play? How easily do you think Donovan Smith could be ready if a Wanye Morris got hurt and they realize they can't start the rookie?
Pretty easily, pretty quickly, depending on what he's been doing. I mean, the fact that he hasn't retired would make me think that he probably has been staying in shape and waiting for an opportunity like this, but you also don't know. I mean, it's November. There are guys that, Ndamukong Suh got to a point where he did it like 3 years in a row, where he just wouldn't go to training camp. He wouldn't even play the first half of the year. He would wait to see which teams actually had a chance to do something, and then he would sign with one of them and be fresh for the second half of the year in the playoffs. That might be the case with Donovan. I don't know him that well. Watching him at times in college, even for the Chiefs, he doesn't strike me as the always ready, working out every day kind of guy. I've never gotten that. That said, they could very easily. In fact, I don't know that he would do it. I mean, if he would do this, he probably already would be signed somewhere. But yeah, I think it's probably time pretty soon to call him back, get him on the practice squad, and then have him if he's willing to do that. They might have to give him some decent coin to do that. Because if he's willing to be on a practice squad, trust me, there's a ton of teams that would already want him on the practice squad. I mean, he probably doesn't want to play unless someone pays him per week what he thinks he's worth.
Ross, I'd like to talk other things in the NFL with you as well. It's just announced that the Colts are going to go back to Anthony Richardson as their starting quarterback after the Joe Flacco stuff went so poorly. Sometimes it's like victim of like recency bias. So I guess I'll take your opinion. You get to catch a lot of different games in the NFL. I feel like the last 18 months in the NFL is a how-to book for dummies on how to not handle young quarterbacks. Is that what feels like is happening in the league? Between Caleb Williams and like the setup they've got going on there and not getting rid of Eberflus before, or Anthony Richardson now, or anyone else in between, it feels like there's been a lot of mishandling of young quarterbacks.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit, okay? Let's start with Caleb Williams. What's your issue with what the Bears have done there?
For the third straight time, they have drafted a young quarterback, Trubisky, Justin Fields, and that, kept the old coach who stunk, let him start, and then fired, and then made the young quarterback start with a fresh guy. By the time this season's done, Eberflus won't be his coach, and he'll be under completely different offensive management. They did the talent thing around him, which I like. Hey, put a bunch of people around him. I hate the idea that they stuck with Eberflus.
Got it. So first of all, Eberflus. Just so we know. That's okay. You don't work in Chicago radio. You work in Kansas City radio. That's fine. I guess I can see that. What I would tell you is last year he took over as the DC, and for the second half of the year, the defense was very, very good.
Yeah.
And actually, they've been very good this year with him calling the defense. So I can see why the Bears did not want to move on from Eberflus. They won a bunch of games at the end of last year. The defense played so well. I think they wanted Caleb Williams to go to a team with a good defense. He absolutely has. They don't want to lose that part of it. But they said, you got to get a new OC. So he did. He got Waldron, who 2 years ago, everybody was giving all of the credit to for Geno Smith having that incredible year, right? So nobody, when he hired Waldron, or not many people, like panned it. They understood it because of what he had done with Geno. Your point's well taken. I guess I just think sometimes the players have to take some accountability, right? Like Trubisky has had other opportunities now. Fields has had other opportunities now with other organizations, and they've shown that they're just not that good. And maybe that's the case with Caleb Williams. Maybe not. We'll see. In terms of the Anthony Richardson thing, you know, they were 4-3, and they had just lost a very, very winnable game that he came out of, which none of us have ever heard of in our entire lives. A quarterback tapping out of a game like that.
Weird.
We've never heard of that. Late third quarter, very winnable game, and he lost a lot of respect from the guys in the locker room for doing that. He was also putting up some of the most hilarious stat lines we've ever seen and playing atrocious. And so I think Shane Steichen thought, how am I going to like go into this locker room and tell the guys that this kid's starting again? I'm not giving them the best chance to win. He didn't think he was. And so he wanted to go with Flacco. Where I think he's making a mistake is I think I would have stuck with Flacco for one more week. It wouldn't have just been a 2-week thing for me with Flacco, because they went against the Vikings on the road, very good defense, and the Bills, and he did some really good things against the Bills. He also had a couple turnovers. I would have given Flacco this. The Colts are still very much in the playoff race.
Mm-hmm.
I would have given Flacco one more game against the Jets this Sunday.
Last one for you, Ross. What about Pittsburgh? Because it feels different than a couple years ago when they had that, what was it, like a 10-0, 11-0 start, and nobody believed in them, and they're like, okay, they're not real, and then everybody was kind of proven correct. This go around, I don't know if I believe they can go to a Super Bowl, but I certainly don't think they're, this fake, phony team. Their schedule just gets way tougher here down the stretch.
Way, way tougher. which is going to be a problem. And here, it's so funny because, I was on with the guys in Buffalo. I go on with you guys 10:30 Central every Wednesday. I go on with the guys in Buffalo 5 o'clock Eastern every Tuesday. They asked me about the Steelers too. I don't know if you guys are comparing notes, but this is like
we're all just curious if we should take them serious.
No, that's fair. And what I would say is, I would take them serious in any one-game scenario.
There you go. Yeah.
I would not take them serious to go to the Super Bowl and or win it. And the reason why I say that is because they're going to have to win 3 playoff games, at least, just to get to the Super Bowl. And in at least 2 of those, maybe even all 3, they're going to have to defeat an MVP-level quarterback, right? Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Russell Wilson's done some positive things. Russell Wilson has helped that team. Russell Wilson's playing pretty well. He's not nearly on the level of those other 3 guys. That's really the problem for any of the other teams in the AFC. Now, I think the Chargers, they feel like Herbert's kind of getting there. We know Burrow can play at that level. The reality is, I don't see a team going to the Super Bowl from really either conference, but especially the AFC, without having a quarterback playing at an MVP-like level, because you have to win 3 games unless you get the number 1 seed. And even if you just have to win 2 games, then you're still playing against Lamar, Josh Allen, or Mahomes in those 2 games. And do I think you're going to win those games late against them? No, maybe 1, but not 2 or 3 or 4.
Ross Tucker, our Odyssey NFL insider. Appreciate it, man. Where are you at this weekend? You got a college game?
Oh, no. I got an awesome weekend. Tomorrow night, I'm in the radio booth for Westwood 1 with Ian Eagle for Commanders Eagles. I don't know if you guys carry the Westwood broadcast or not, but that Commanders Eagles game is going to be huge. And then I'll fly right to Miami first thing Friday morning. I got the Raiders at the Dolphins for CBS on Sunday, which I'm looking for. The Dolphins actually look pretty darn good Monday night. So I'm curious. I think I saw somewhere where they have a 25% chance to make the playoffs. I have no idea what the math is on that, but I'm looking forward to see if they can kind of go on a run here.
Not bad at all. You get to stay in your backyard for football tomorrow night, and then you get to go down to South Beach. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
So that was Ross Tucker a little bit earlier on today. He joins us each and every week here on Cody and Gold, and our conversations with Ross Tucker are brought to you by Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. Mayo game day, be delicious. And yeah, he talked about a couple matchups he's got definitely tomorrow night. We'll talk about tomorrow.
3 huge NFL games: Ravens, Steelers, Eagles, Commanders, and then Chiefs, Bills. The biggest of the 3.
As far as the Steelers go, I totally agree with what he said, which is
they can beat anyone, but they can't beat 3 of those anyones in a row.
They're dangerous, but do we really think they're winning 2 or 3 games in a row? And I don't know how anybody can say yes. In fairness to Pittsburgh, they have a chance to shut us all up over the next month.
Yeah, they win this weekend.
That schedule is brutal.
Ravens
ahead.
twice, Bengals twice. They have the Eagles. They have
the Browns twice.
That doesn't matter anything. The Browns twice. That's
it's a brutal stretch. And so if they're able to get out of that and still get to like 12 wins and win the AFC North, then okay, all right. And is Russell Wilson going to go beat, as Ross said, going to go beat Lamar and beat Mahomes in back-to-back weeks? I just, in the playoffs, I just don't believe that.
Some of it is just the quality difference. I think if to believe that, you have to think that formerly heading on a Hall of Fame track, Russell Wilson is now the quarterback of the Steelers. Like, he turned back the clock. Tomlin turned back the clock. And I think there's been a couple of times in the last
couple of weeks he hasn't had to totally turn back the clock, and he's found a way to make the play they needed against the Commanders.
Yeah, and so, but like the Commanders are 0-3 against teams above 500. So like still to me, there's a problem with that win. Not that it's a bad win. It's definitely, all wins are good wins, but like that's a better than normal. It's better than beating the Jets, okay? But also the Commanders are winless against winning teams this year, despite the fact that they're a very good football team. So, like, I need to see the Steelers. Honest to God, I need to see them against the Ravens. I need to see them against Cincinnati. Division teams who they've lost to, the Eagles. Like, I need to see them against some of these teams that I know to be the upper echelon of the NFL and then start making some determinations. I'm close to almost buying in and being like, yeah, man, they could just be a problem in the playoffs for anybody. If they get Russell Wilson to play good quarterback, they're one of the best defenses in the league. Nobody's arguing that.
The tricky
they got some
thing
good
is-
offensive weapons. No one's denying that. It's just like how much Russell Wilson do you
The tricky thing is if they don't win the division, okay, let's say they're the 3 seed then.
2 road games and 3 games.
Well, they're the 3 seed, so then they're hosting 6 seed wild card. Who knows who that's going to be? In that scenario, it could be the Chargers, it could be the Broncos, it could be the Colts, it could be Cincy, I guess. Like that would be pretty stunning. Versus if they are a wild card team and they're the 6 or 7 seed,
done.
Then it's no. I mean, I'm saying. If they're the 7 seed and they're going to Buffalo, I wouldn't like that in my first playoff game if I'm Buffalo.
No.
That's what I'm getting at.
But I also just don't think there's any chance they're winning 3.
No. As a Chiefs fan, I want Pittsburgh to be the 7 in a way somehow. They're not going to be, but knock out Buffalo.
Be annoyed for
That'd be
someone
fun.
else.
Anyway.
Sure.
We're back at it tomorrow, guys. Full show coming your way on Thursday. We'll go up to Buffalo, talk with Mike Shope of WGR 550. We'll have fantasy football with Paul Charchian and Danian Hughes. Talk to you guys then. The Drive with C-Dot and Rob coming up next.
Cody and Gold.
And sleep well.